and you won't see that here.
And now it's official, the green flag in the air here at Texas, but we do start under a green and yellow condition. The laps count. The drivers have to hold their positions on the racetrack. This basically gets us started, and we continue to work on drying the racetrack and pit road. Let's get an update from Dave Burns on Robbie Gordon's machine.
When these guys get on the grid and their cars are all lined up, the crews and the crew chiefs continue to look at them carefully. They're eyeballing the other competitors to see what they're running in the way of tape on their grills and everything. Sometimes they notice something amiss with the car, and that's what happened with Robbie Gordon's team. They saw that the left rear tire had a 3/4 inch rivet in the left rear tire. That'll make your tire go flat. They pointed it out to a NASCAR official. They allowed them to change that left rear tire without penalty, which is the case when you touch your car before you go racing here in a lot of cases. So NASCAR let him do that. They changed the left rear, and Robbie will start in his 9th place qualifying position.
And that's a good catch.
That is a good catch, and I'm sure that those guys behind Robbie Gordon are happy that he was able to change that tire. Dale Earnhardt Jr., some of those other fellows back there.
Been an interesting week for Robbie Gordon. Fined $15,000 for the driver, $10,000 fine for his crew chief, 50 driver and owner points, and put on probation until the end of the 2006 calendar year for actions detrimental to the sport. That all coming from the roll bar padding incident last week at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. We offered Robbie a chance to discuss that with us, but he declined here this weekend in Texas. We're under green and yellow, the laps counting here at the Texas Motor Speedway, waiting to get that yellow flag withdrawn. Then we'll go full bore racing on NBC. Field has doubled up. We will go full bore green flag racing next time they cross the start finish line. Race number 8 in the chase for the 2006 NASCAR Nextel Cup Championship. A little over a mile from going green. Let's check in with Dave.
And Bill, everyone's been watching the weather here, including Carl Edwards and his team. This was their radio chatter on the subject moments ago.
Earlier this morning it said 100% chance of rain starting at 6 p.m. Said 80% chance until 6, so keep an eye out.
Tyler wanted me to let you know that those clouds you see out there, they can be described as a stratocumulus cloud, Carl.
I don't know if that's exactly correct. Could be. If it starts raining, they'd be cumulonimbus, I believe.
I just hope we accumulate at least half of the laps of this race, Bill. That's all I know.
And he's a pilot. He should know, shouldn't he?
Yeah, he watches it a lot, and it matters today.
Carl Edwards in that 99 car.
If it starts raining, wouldn't it be a rain cloud?
That's what I would think. Carl, the defending champion of this race. His last victory came here 1 year ago. Now, since this race has officially started and 3 laps are complete, guess what? Jimmy Johnson is now the championship leader. Because Matt Kenseth starts so deep in the field right now, Johnson is the championship leader, Hamlin is second, and Kenseth is third. Pace car to pit road, yellow flag back in its stand, waiting for the green flag to wave here at Texas. Race number 8 in the chase for the championship.
Check out Kurt Busch in that 2 car.
Kurt comes from third to lead the first lap.
Oh, Gilliland sandwiched in there. Robbie Gordon, thankfully, backs off and gives him the spot, or that could have been ugly.
Could have been very ugly very soon.
Kyle Busch in that 5 car was paying attention, so he didn't run over Robbie. Tony Stewart in the 20, last week's winner. There's Robbie in the 7. Elliott Sadler, who started outside the front row in the 19 car.
That 19 car is working his way back towards the back.
Yeah, well, I think right now, especially with the track conditions, the bottom is the place to be. That's where I think everybody needs to get right now.
In other words, Elliott Sadler does not want to be where he is.
No, he's trying to find a spot to get down, but nobody's been polite enough yet to, there you go, Casey Kane, his teammate, gave him a break.
On board with Casey, Dale Earnhardt Jr. right behind him. Drivers in yellow on the ticker at the top of the screen are the 10 men in the chase for the Nextel Cup. There you see the updated points as they run right now. And a big shift early because Kenseth had to start 36th. And has worked his way up to 32nd.
And there, BP, what you were explaining on that Home Depot garage, you see Earnhardt got right out in the back of that 9 cars bumper. It loosened up Casey a little bit, which slid him up the racetrack, and it's exactly what that showed when we showed it. Marty, what's going on with the 8? Because right now he's going forward.
Exactly, Wally, and that's what they expect to do for most of the day. I talked to Tony Eury Jr. this morning. He said, we expect to see the same race today that we saw last week in Atlanta. Our car, same one we ran there. We think the tires will handle the same way they did there. And then that race, they ran up front for most of the day, doing what they're doing right now, going forward, currently 9th.
But as we saw in Atlanta, if we remember, his car was really, really good at the get-go, and then that car fell off after some laps. So we'll just have to see if it's the same here at Texas.
David Gilliland in that 38 car started up front, but he's hanging in pretty well. Best run he's had in Nextel Cup races so far in his very abbreviated career.
Kyle Busch on board looking at Gilliland in the 38. Here's Dave.
And that young driver has a veteran crew chief in Todd Parrott. Spoke with Todd this morning about their up front starting position. He felt very confident based on the way David's been running the mile-and-a-half tracks the last couple of weeks. Not always with the finishes, but running very well, and felt like they could hold their position early on in the race.
That's 6th and 7th right there.
There we go. Got him a little bit loose in the corner.
Junior's going to try and follow him through underneath. Oh, Gilliland knows he's there. Your Junior playing with the accelerator, gets out of the gas, then gets back in.
Yeah, you can't run this racetrack flat. So what you do is you go down on the corner here, you roll out of the throttle, you let the car roll about to the center, then you start picking up the gas again, and then you really hammer the throttle as you're coming off the corner.
Down the backstretch. Junior 4th in the championship standings. Currently runs in the 7th spot.
A couple of good-sized bumps down there in 3 and 4, BP, that the guys are got to be careful on. When you get down on those bumps, you've got to be real careful what you're doing with that steering wheel and the throttle, because it can upset the car.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to be on the throttle wide open and turn in the car and go through a bump, because it will spin out.
Pit road report from Matt Yoakum.
3 to go, Bill, and the 11 team and Denny Hamlin, they brought their moneymaker car, the car that swept both races at Pocono, here to Texas. Very optimistic, but early on the car extremely tight. He has lost 6 spots here in the early going. Dave?
And Matt, the 5 car of Kyle Busch right now being challenged by a Dale Earnhardt Jr. One of the places Junior may be able to pass is from the center off the corner. Right now, Kyle's reporting that his car doesn't turn well at that spot. There goes Junior. Marty?
And Dave Wally and those guys were talking about the bumps, especially in 3 and 4. Junior doesn't like the bump in 1 and 2, Wally. So what he does, he tries to stay as low as he can. He said if you're 4 feet off that bottom white line in 1 and 2, you'll really hit that bump. If you're a little below that, you can kind of avoid that major bump in 1 and 2.
Yeah, that's a big bump down there, Marty. That'll make your CD player skip, won't it?
Exactly, and I'm sure Junior's are skipping right now because he's a little off that white line. You see that bump right there on the in-car camera as he went through it.
Junior in 6th. Then it's Kyle Busch, Casey Kane, David Gilliland, and Scott Riggs. Started under the green and yellow. Then we got the green flag. Kurt Busch started 3rd, led the first lap, and has led basically all of them since we went true green flag racing. He's led more laps today than in his 7 prior races here at Texas. He's out front. Takes care of you like State Farm. And by AmeriQuest Mortgage, proud sponsor of the American Dream. Fans waited out the rain here today. Saw the first 4 laps under yellow, then we dropped the green flag. Kurt Busch went to the front and has stayed there. There's Vickers in 2nd, then it's Tony Stewart, Jimmy Johnson, and Casey Kane. Matt Kenseth started 36th, was moving forward, but that progress has slowed, Alan.
Yeah, moved up to 29th spot in the opening couple of laps, Bill. Now has slipped back, and he's running in 32nd place. He called on the radio a couple of laps ago, said no grip. His car sliding around the racetrack, and didn't really offer anything else other than, Robbie, no grip, I'm loose in, I can't turn in the center, and that was the last transmission, so he's struggling a little bit now. Matt?
2 spots back, AB, is his teammate Mark Martin. Now, the same setup as Saturday that was was in his primary car, but 0 laps on this race car this weekend. Mark is trying to settle in, currently running in the 34th position, has made 0 comments on the radio. The game plan early, we're just trying to feel out this race car that gave him a top 10 finish here in the spring.
And just because you have to realize, just because you put the exact same setup in your backup car doesn't mean that car is going to feel anything like the one that you wrecked. These cars all have a feel, or drivers are looking for feel. That's why Earnhardt has run this car so many times, because he likes the way that thing grips the racetrack. He likes the way it feels. It could be a little something different in the body, but that's why Mark is probably trying to feel this thing out. I'm sure they're going to have to make some big changes when they come in for their first pit stop.
Jeff Gordon in that 24 car started 23rd, has made his way to 12th. Greg Biffle's also on the move. He's gone from 39th to 27th. There's race leader Kurt Busch. Brian Vickers closing in on him. There's Junior. He's in the 7th spot. Riggs on the move behind him to 8th.
And we see that 8 car sliding back, just like we talked about earlier, just like he was doing in Atlanta. The thing is a rocket ship. The first 10 or 15 laps, then all of a sudden starts to drop off.
So Riggs takes the position from Earnhardt. Give you the speeds at the line here. And again, top 4 cars here broke the track record in qualifying.
And the speeds that you see is not the fastest speed, but the average speed of Tony Stewart at 178 miles per hour. So they have slowed down considerably from qualifying. Almost 20 miles an hour average speed.
But still pretty darn fast on a 1.5 mile track.
Yes, it is.
There's Junior trying to chase down a championship. Wally?
Take a ride around, and BP, actually that second lane is working pretty nicely already. These guys here, watch going down the corner. Sees off the throttle, start picking it up just a little bit right there. You hear he's just on the gas a little bit. As he gets off the corner, he really accelerates hard. Now same thing, go down the straight back stretch, roll out of the throttle. Sometimes you touch the brake a little bit, sometimes you don't. Depends on how your car handles here. Back hard on the throttle. Actually, his car looks like it's handling fairly decent.
I see the miles per hour as he goes down in turn 1. 194 miles per hour. He goes down to about 156, 7,400 RPMs in the middle of the corner.
And that's what the engine builder doesn't want to even look at, does it?
No.
And it's not only so much what your top RPM is, like DP says, it doesn't drop that much. I mean, it goes to 7,400, 7,500 RPM. So you're in that high RPM range all the time.
Earnhardt third at Atlanta. That was his best finish, and second at California 7 races ago.
Alan, that 10 car is going somewhere.
He is, Benny, and that's going to the front. And that's not a surprise to this race team. I talked to Rodney Childers, the crew chief for Scott Briggs, yesterday. They finished 7th here back in April. Thought they had a car that could have won that day, but made a lot of mistakes on their pit stops, and it kept them from being at the front of the pack. Rodney says their pit crew has come a long way since then, and they feel they have just as good a car. Maybe today will be the day Scott Briggs gets win number 1 here in the Nextel Cup Series. The way he's looking now wouldn't surprise me, huh, VP?
No, it wouldn't, Alan. I talked to Rodney this morning, and he's very optimistic because he didn't say much. That tells me the crew chiefs are very optimistic about winning when they don't say much.
Don't want to jinx anything.
Exactly.
Robbie Gordon goes up high in the 7. Earnhardt's going to try and scoot underneath him here. Across the start-finish line, shoot off into 1. On board with Earnhardt. Always got that car down low. Be interesting to watch that develop through the day, if that has the same handling characteristics as last week that Wally was talking about. Kurt Busch is the race leader. Then it's Brian Vickers, Tony Stewart, Jimmy Johnson, and Casey Kane. Motor Speedway in Fort Worth, and even the morning rain couldn't keep these fans away. They've come out to see the stars of NASCAR compete in race number 8 in the chase for the 2006 Nextel Cup. Kurt Busch is the race leader. Tony Stewart has moved into second. Time for our singular race talk question. Terry Labonte's last race is today. Retiring after this race. So what is your favorite Terry Labonte moment? To vote, text the word race to 191 on your Singular wireless phone, you'll have a chance to win a first-class trip to Miami. Told you Tony had gotten to second, trying to get to first, going around Terry Labonte right there in the 44. Kurt Busch in the 2 is the race leader. Tony trying to take that position away.
He would have been there if it wasn't for the 44 car, Terry Labonte. He kind of got jammed in there, Tony Stewart. Whoa, a little loose right there for Stewart. Gets the car a little bit sideways. Not sure if he got the left front down on that apron a little bit there. Stewart's car is working really, really good through the center and off the corner. He may not have a chance to get this lead.
NASCAR has talked about putting out a competition caution around lap 40. We've just completed lap 40, and the caution is now out on the speedway. So a competition caution here at lap 40. The first 4 laps of this race were run under the yellow to help dry the track.
And it's sort of livable. It's about twice as loose getting off, real loose getting off the corner.
Matt Kenseth back in 30th after starting 36th.
And one thing, BP, you can't live with here is a loose race car, whether it's getting into the corner especially. But if you're loose getting in, you're going to be loose everywhere else.
And going in 3 where it will affect you probably more than going in turn 1.
Alan?
Well, this is a big break for Matt Kenseth, Bill, because at the rate the leaders were going out ahead of the pack, he was in danger of getting put a lap down. If this caution did not come out, maybe in another 20 laps or so, right about the time the first set of pit stops might have come up, Matt Kenseth was in jeopardy of being lapped by the leader. So I look at this yellow as being a good break for this team, plus the fact they get to work on the race car.
Yeah, huge opportunity.
I'll tell you another guy that was in big trouble was Mark Martin in that 6 car.
Yeah, because he was 5 or 6 positions behind Matt Kenseth.
I want to point out that Kenseth did qualify 36th and then started 34th because 2 drivers dropped to the rear of the field. And NASCAR has told the drivers they want the cars to come in slow because of the damp conditions at the entrance of pit road. Pit road speed 45 miles per hour, pace car speed 55.
I don't know that these drivers will adhere to that.
No.
Exactly right. Because if somebody slows down, they got a chance to pick up a position. They're going to try their best to get it.
Pit road's going to be a busy place. We've got 40 cars on the lead lap. Jimmy Johnson headed for AB.
In the first pit stall off the racetrack, going to be a 4-tire change, also going to be a chassis adjustment, going to do a wedge adjustment on this car. Jimmy said that the car getting a little snug at the end of that run. Kurt Busch pits from the race lead. He will be about 7, 8 spots farther down pit road. A 4-tire change on Kurt Busch's car, and they'll make a track bar adjustment. Matt?
Chassis adjustment already completed for Tony Stewart. He said that the car just didn't have the feel in the back that he needed. It was also just a tick free on late exit. Dave?
Bottom of the screen, Brian Vickers just lost a couple of positions, really not unhappy with the car. No chassis changes for Brian. They'll make a 4-tire change. Marty?
Casey Kane said his car was pretty close, but a little too tight for his liking. Half pound on the left front tire, half a round up on the track bar, trying to free that 9 car up just a bit, Bill.
Wow, Kurt Busch lost a number of positions in that ballet down there on pit road.
And had trouble with the right front. I think he had a lug nut. I saw the NASCAR official there telling him you got to go back to the right front. I think they had to go back over and tighten the lug nut.
We saw the Nextel race off of pit road. Nextel celebrating speed, teamwork, and getting things done instantly. Under caution here at Texas, little crew cam action, Mr. Parsons.
Lance Hanna from Fort Worth. Throws on the right rear, hangs it for Dave Smith, makes a chassis adjustment, runs around the other side, grabs the left rear, hangs it on there for Dave. Go. Dave Littau hangs a tire, but the NASCAR official says, wait a minute, you got a lug nut off. Now Dave comes back around, picks up a lug nut off pit road, and he says to the tire changer, come on back, tighten this thing up, which he did. It took 20.8 seconds for that pit stop.
Didn't have to do that. All he had to do was thread that thing on by hand and get out of the way and go.
Kurt went in the race leader, restarts 11th.
I'm sure Kurt appreciates it that he did hit it with the air gun, but
yeah, because yesterday you were complaining because they didn't tighten it in the Busch race. You drivers.
Can't never happen.
Robbie Gordon, that 7 car is 6th. Michael Waltrip is 1 lap down.
And check who's fifth. Jeff Gordon in that 24 car has worked his way up right behind his teammate Jimmy Johnson.
Oh, Casey Kane gets 25 of Vickers, a little bit loose off of 2. And he's going to take that spot.
Kane to second.
Vickers could not get down in time because Jimmy Johnson was already there underneath him. And now he's going to lose a couple more spots because that's the problem. On these restarts, the way this track is right now, if you get slid up to the high side, everybody's lined up on the bottom, you're going to lose 3 or 4 spots.
3 Hendrick cars running together. The 48 of Johnson, the 24 of Gordon, 25 of Vickers.
And I guess that will make Rick about as nervous as anything, seeing those 3 cars running side by side.
The only thing would make him more nervous if it was the last lap and they were running that way. Robbie gets the position, so Vickers is falling back. There's Earnhardt in behind Vickers for the moment.
Sound like Earnhardt had to get out of the throttle there. He had a lot of momentum there, and he had to get out of the throttle. Gave him a spot. Dave, you got something on Robbie Gordon?
Yep, just a slight improvement to that race car, just a slight air pressure adjustment, a little air pressure in the left rear to help that car turn a little bit. His only complaint was that it was just a slight bit tight in that last run.
That's about perfect here. I mean, that's what you're looking for.
Makes you feel a little more confident, comfortable.
Well, if it's going to be something, you want it to be a little bit tight. And, you know, you can really control that with the way you work the throttle. The car's loose by itself, and you see the 25 again gets loosened up by someone, Dale Earnhardt Jr. this time. If a car's loose by itself and then something like that happens where a car gets behind you, tough to drive that way on this racetrack.
41 cars on the lead lap. Terry Labonte was the lucky dog. Update from pit road. Here's Alan.
Let's talk about Matt Kenseth, Bill, way back in the field, 29th spot right now, the championship leader starting the day. This was the communication from Matt to his crew chief, Robbie Reiser, just before the pit stop, trying to describe what his car is doing in the opening run of the race.
Kind of loose getting in. It's sort of livable. It's about twice as loose getting off, real loose getting off the corner, and don't turn it in the middle. I need some grip desperately. I probably need to fix the loose a little bit more than the tight. You know, if I slow way down and keep it on the bottom, you know, I can make it spin more than push, but don't follow the front tires either, you know what I mean?
So Matt with a very descriptive monologue there to his crew chief. What they did to counter that, if you're one of the people that likes the technical side of racing, they dropped the air pressure on both the right side tires and adjusted the cross weight in the car. And we'll race a few laps and see how it works out.
I'm glad Robbie understood him because I didn't understand a word he said.
Well, they're both from Wisconsin, and they know each other fairly well. Came in with a championship lead. Here's a guy that's had a few tough weeks, the 6 of Mark Martin. Matt.
And Bill, it seems like it continues to take a turn for the worse for Mark Martin. 2 spots back of his teammate, Matt Kenseth, running in the 32nd position now before the competition caution. Mark came on the radio and said, we are not in good shape. The car is loose and tight. Now, they made an air pressure change on this 6 car, and while they touched on it, you know, we've seen some bad weeks for Mark Martin. They've wrecked a lot of their newer trick stuff. This is more of an older style race car. It's a good car, but they're still paying the price for the rough weeks they've had here in the chase.
And once you get behind, it is hard to catch up at the shop. And those guys work hard at it. Kurt Busch is in the 9th spot, picked up a couple of positions. Briggs is 10th. Clint Boyer in the 07, 11th. Chaser Denny Hamlin is right behind them in 12th. Got 4 chasers right now running in the top 5. Kyle Busch right in front of his brother, Kyle in the 5. Briggs looking at the outside.
You get such a good run off the corners when you're running on the high side. You'll see Scott up on the high side. Now, normally this is where the guy on the bottom will pull away. But the 10 should take the spot here now because he was a little bit ahead of Kurt Busch off the corner. Nope. Busch comes back.
Kurt's probably pretty inspired after that pit stop.
Yeah.
Looks like that 2 car has a little horsepower.
Yes, it does. In order to come off the corner on the low side behind a guy and pull up even going into the next corner is horsepower.
Exactly.
Chasers, 5 of them running in the top 8 spots. Tony Stewart said he wanted to win them all in the chase. 1-2 so far, and he's out front here at Texas.
Alan Dellenhart Jr. has been battling the flu for most of the week. Today, he's on that day where you're over it, but you're still a little achy and sore, so Junior feeling certainly a little bit better. He's currently in fourth. On the run before this, when they were a little too tight, they put a half pound in the left front tire. He said the exit, right where he is right now, is much better, a little too loose getting into the corner, though. Matt?
Marty, four-time champ Jeff Gordon runs in the 5th position. 75 career wins, an impressive racing resume. He's gone to victory lane just about every place except Texas, Phoenix, and Homestead. He's not bothered by it. In fact, he's more motivated by it.
I want to win a race, and there's 3 of them left that I haven't won a race at before, and I hope that we can accomplish that, and I feel like we can. You know, I think that we're very capable. Right now, with the way this team is operating, man, I feel, you know, great about a lot of places that we go to, more some than others, but the mile and a half, I feel like our program is really strong. You know, I almost feel better about Texas right now than I do about Phoenix, and I feel like we're even going to be a lot better at Phoenix than we were the last time.
Jeff Gordon wanted to go by the plan of let's see what happens. Didn't make any adjustments. Now he feels like he's paying the prices of the car is just terribly loose on exit. AB?
Scott Riggs running in the 6th position. He picked up 6 spots in the opening run of the race and has maintained that at this point in the event. They made an air pressure adjustment on this car. Riggs feeling like they were in for a good afternoon the way his car was in practice. Dave?
Alan, Kyle Busch's first race here was in 2005, but he tried to make the race in 2004 and crashed a car doing so. He's been trying to rebound at this place ever since. The team calls it a weak track for them, but Kyle's doing very well, and since the restart has been moving forward. Alan, back to you.
Well, here's a guy that's really been moving in the first part of the race, and that's Martin Truex Jr. He took the green flag in 34th position. He picked up so many spots in that opening run of the race that after the pit stop, I had to come down and ask his crew and make sure they took 4 tires on their stop. They did. The one car is flying. Dave?
Robbie Gordon qualified 9th this weekend. This is a very, very fast racetrack. In fact, he said, I could have done a little bit better if I could have held my breath a little bit longer. That's the way these guys qualify. And believe me, racing for 500 miles here is no picnic either. The 25 car of Brian Vickers is loose and not getting any better. That's the latest report from his pit. That's why he got passed at the restart. He's moved all the way back from 2nd to 10th. The 99 car of Carl Edwards is having an unusual vibration. We've been trying to track it, but so far, Carl says it's kind of an all-over thing. It may just be the set of tires they have right now. Is it cooperating for their setup? We'll keep an eye on that, Alan.
Well, you saw the pit stop problem that dropped Kurt Busch from the race lead on that first stop. The lug nut that fell off. That dropped him back to 11th. But after gaining a couple of spots in the opening few laps of this run, he's actually slipped back now to 12th position. They will continue to work on the handling of this car. Kurt knew his car would be better out in front with clean air. Doesn't have that now. Marty?
Alan Clint Boyer couldn't wait to get to Texas because he was excited to drive this race car. It debuted at Indy and finished 4th. He took it to California. It finished 3rd. Then he went to Kansas, was leading his hometown race, and he wrecked the car. Since then, he said the car has been in intensive care. They had to put a new rear clip on it, a new right side on it, but it's back and better than ever, currently in the 13th position. Matt?
Over 10 car lengths back is the 11 at Denny Hamlin, started today 6th. So the car was comfortable and consistent during final practice, but the change in the weather, now he says the car is really tight on exit. They made a track bar and air pressure adjustment. The car just does not seem to have the speed, currently running in the 14th spot. Dave?
Matt, since the restart, David Gilliland hasn't moved forward. He hasn't moved backwards. This is only his 13th Nextel Cup Series start, and earlier this week, he told the media, I've never struggled before like this ever in a race car, but I've never been in such a competitive racing series either. The rookie doing very well. Jeff Burton not happy with his race car right now. It wouldn't turn well before he came in for the pit stop. They adjusted. It still won't turn well. And since the restart, he is now in the 16th position. He restarted 18th. He's moved forward, but it's not the way he likes it, Matt.
Saturday's Busch winner, Kevin Harvick, looking for his 3rd Busch Nextel Cup sweep of the 2006 season, but they've got a lot of work to do. Harvick complaining about the car being extremely tight. They made some significant changes on their stop, pulled the spring rubber, and a chassis adjustment has not seemed to help, Alan.
Well, things appearing to be moving forward for Matt Kenseth. He has moved up 7 spots since the restart. Started 29th. He's up to 22nd place now. Adjustments on that stop, and an adjustment where he's driving on the racetrack. See, Kenseth starting to use the higher line, and it appears to be agreeing with his car a little more. Matt?
It is just a handful for Mark Martin in the 6th. Remember, driving the backup car, he told his crew chief, Pat Trison, this thing is just so hard to drive. The car loose and tight. Mark says we need to take a big swing at it, big chassis adjustments when they hit pit road the next time.
Thank you, gentlemen. That was the top 17 through the field, plus the chasers. Greg Biffle is 18th, Casey Mears 19th, Reed Sorensen runs 20th. There are 40 cars currently running on the lead lap. Now 39 as Tony Stewart knocks Ryan Newman 1 lap down. Stewart has led 34 laps so far today, going for back-to-back wins. Has run well here at Texas, won last week at Atlanta, trying to get back to victory lane and maybe climb another fence.
Yeah.
Your guest. VP, you busy?
My favorite part of the show. Down in the truck, please cue the duck.
Means it's time for the Aflac trivia question. Who is the only Rookie of the Year candidate to win a Texas Nextel Cup race?
Carl Edwards.
Dale Jr.
Dale Jr.
Oh, okay. Boy, everybody ought to know that, VP.
Got his first win here back in 2000. That was some celebration. I think that was just his 12th start, our Aflac trivia question. On board with Junior, runs in the 4th spot. Stewart leads. Then there are chasers, Kane, Johnson, and Earnhardt Jr. Riggs is 5th. Then it's Martin Truex, and then this is 7th. Jeff Gordon, Kyle Busch, Carl Edwards. Robbie Gordon round out the top 10.
Carl Edwards has picked his way through the field.
As much success as Matt Kenseth is having on the top groove around the racetrack, you kind of expected the other Roush cars to move up there, but he's the only one I've seen up there, the 17 car. And Jeff Gordon, when they restarted the race, was running 5th, right with those fellows, but I see he has fallen back about 11 seconds behind Tony Stewart.
Update on Carl Edwards from Mr. Burns.
And running in the top 10 is good news for him, Bill. He restarted 14th, and so he's past 5 cars by the math that I did there. That's good news because yesterday he had to make a very early pit stop in the Busch Series race and was never able to recover and really get back up into the front-running group because of track position. His car wouldn't handle. Now these cars are set up differently, but at the same time, it's tough to pass when you're in a pack of cars, and today the 99 can do it.
There's Tony Stewart, the race leader, and look who's right behind him, Mark Martin, and that is not the 2nd place car. Mark is 35th and now 1 lap down. Lost a car here yesterday in practice, involved in a crash with Tony Raines.
So when they threw the green flag for today's event, that was his first lap on the racetrack with this car. Right front tire.
Jeff Burton, the man who just a couple of weeks ago was leading the championship standings.
Yeah, you could hear what happened before he hit the wall on that one. I believe a right front tire blew on that car.
Yeah, I heard it go explode.
BP, you were talking to these guys in the garage. There was some concern about right fronts here?
A lot of concern with right front tires. Friday night in the Truck Series, had a couple of guys, Rick Crawford and Dennis Setzer, blew right front tires going down to turn 1. But these guys were working very hard to keep that right front as cool as possible, running hoses to the right front, running blowers to try to blow some cool air on them.
Because they're running so much camber.
Well, they're not running a lot of camber. They're running positive camber, but the car is so soft when it goes down, it sucks that right front tire in so much. And you got to really be, it's a fine line between having it sucked in too far.
Right. Dave?
And Bill, Jeff had just radioed into his crew, how many laps till we need to stop? And when they discussed the number 20, Jeff said, we'll never make it. You got to believe he was referring to the right front tire.
This is heartbreaking for Jeff Burton. Fought all year, worked his way into the chase, won at Dover, took over the championship lead. Now, inside of 3 races to go, headed for the garage after this hit.
And that, you know what, if you're going to blow a tire on a racetrack this fast, this is the best place to blow a tire. I mean, he just glazed off the wall. If he would have blown that tire going into turn 1 or turn 3, he would have hit a ton.
they wouldn't worry about fixing that car. They'd just thrown it away.
Allen.
4-tire stop, track bar, air pressure adjustments for Jimmy Johnson, bottom left frame, looking for a little help with the rear grip on this car. He's in the first pit stall on pit road and already gone, Matt.
Tony Stewart said the car was a little free when it started, but took about 15 laps to come in. He said, let's put them on boards. That's exactly what they did. A great stop by the Home Depot guys. 14.1, Marty.
Casey Kane's in the middle of your screen, Matt, a little bit slower stop, 15.1 for him. Up half a round on the track bar. He said the car was just a little bit too tight, but he couldn't stand to be any tighter in the front end. So up a half a round on the track bar, Bill.
Thank you, gentlemen. You heard the roar. Tony Stewart won the race off of pit road, but Junior picks up a couple of spots and gets to second. Jeff Burton maybe seeing his championship hopes go up in flames here at Texas. We're under caution. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.
Tell them we're coming next lap. As soon as we put that set on, it never felt right. That's the longest right front A-frame and the least camera we run all year long. It's not in the, you can actually see the wear indicators was just wore on the outside as well as the inside. So I don't think there's anything we did wrong. I think we just we got the lucky tire.
84 markers out coming in, which was still doable, but this is going to be a huge hit, Jeff.
Yeah, I mean, there's this pretty much does it for us, unfortunately. But you know, we'll keep fighting and get all we can. You never know what's going to happen. We won't quit racing. I can assure you of that. But this makes it, I don't want to say impossible, but pretty close to it.
Thanks, Jeff.
Jeff Burton.
Well, I am delighted to hear that it wasn't a situation with camber, that it just he ran over something or whatever, and the tire blew out.
Okay, a couple of things here. Mark Martin was the lucky dog, so he gets to come around back on the lead lap. He's 32nd. Denny Hamlin, who was running in the 14th spot, penalized for removing equipment from his pit stall. We were told it was a wedge wrench and perhaps even the fuel can. But anyway, he's at the tail end of the longest line.
He took everything with him.
Elliott Sadler pitting outside the box. That's a one-lap penalty, so Elliott Sadler is back in 34th. It's Stewart, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jimmy Johnson, Casey Kane, and Jeff Gordon, the top five. Then it's Martin Truex Jr., Riggs, Boyer, Edwards, Kevin Harvick. Kyle Busch runs in 13th. Matt Kenseth, 22nd. Denny Hamlin, 32nd. Mark Martin, 33rd. Jeff Burton currently scored 43rd, back in the garage. Our 10 drivers in the chase for the Nextel Cup. Update from Marty.
Bill, how about the stop for Dale Earnhardt Jr. and his guys? 11.9, gained 2 spots on pit road. Jr. still not feeling well. Asked the crew under caution to see if they could maybe get him some medication or something. He says his biggest problem, he's got a whole bunch of heartburn. He said, I've drank so much Gatorade all weekend long trying to keep myself hydrated that it's now giving me heartburn, and I'm dealing with that in the race car, plus being sore from having the flu all week.
But that pit stop will make him feel a little bit better.
That pit stop makes everybody feel better on the 18, Bill.
And if he can get around Tony Stewart, 5 bonus points for leading a lap will make him feel even a little bit better. Green flag.
Man, look at Tony Stewart in that 20 car just drive away from him.
Junior and Johnson trying to clear the lap traffic.
Oh, Truex goes to the bottom. Saw Ward Burton in the 4 car slid up to the high side, which is where all the guys on the lead lap were. So Truex decided, I need to get to the bottom to get around him.
BP, you want to say something about Martin Truex Jr. and how his day's going?
No, I don't want to say anything. Last week I bragged on him and I told him how well he was doing and how well he had been running for the last couple of months. And 2 laps later, he was coming down pit road with a right front wheel bearing bad.
Did you see those guys in the garage this morning?
I saw Bono and I just walked up and he looked at me and smiled. That's all he could do.
Truex in the 6th spot. There's Casey Kane and Jeff Gordon. That's for 4th. Jeff trying the inside of the 9 car. Tries to get down and hug that line.
That works on a lot of guys, but that's tough on Casey Kane when he's out there, because he usually hangs pretty tough. Marty.
Wally, Casey has an interesting dilemma. You know, a lot of times when drivers are out here and their shoes get wet, you need to dry them thoroughly. Well, Casey didn't do that. And so his shoe is actually sticking to the throttle. So when he comes to pit road, that makes things kind of hard. They thought about handing him a can of either brake cleaner or silicone. They decided not to do that because they thought that might make it too slick. So Casey's got that issue with his shoe sticking to the throttle. Other than that, the car's running great, Matt.
Marty, the biggest issue for Jeff Gordon, just cannot seem to get in the power when he wants to on exit. It's really bad down in turns 1 and 2. The traffic wasn't an issue earlier, but it sure seems like it now, he says. AB?
Just keeping an eye on Matt Kenseth here for a second. He had a little problem on his pit stop, and now says he thinks he has a flat right rear tire. So we'll keep an eye on the 17.
Problem is, he's up on the high side right now. He's not able to slow down and get into pit lane that lap.
Trying to look with the binoculars. Bob was talking to you about Robbie. See if it's the left rear, just to make sure it's on the left rear. It's one of the rears. Left rear. It don't look like. Not a left rear.
He's still trying to feel it out, make sure that's what he thinks it is. Still going pretty fast too, feeling it out.
Doesn't want to lose all those positions.
See the car wiggling right there? Definitely not comfortable.
It's so hard to see that right rear tire.
Well, he thought it was the left rear, and Robbie Reiser said it's not the left rear. Just, what do you do? Try and tiptoe at 175 miles an hour?
Exactly. You go to 3/4 and you try to feel it out to make sure that you're convinced yourself that there's something wrong with that car. The last thing a guy wants to do is come in and be wrong.
Right.
Because you basically handed the race away. So right now he's still flying, but he backed off enough to try to get a good feel for it. If he feels like, well, maybe it's not a tire going down, he'll get confidence back in the car and start picking it up again. But at this point in time, he's still trying to feel it out. Whoa.
We're going to know pretty soon if one of those tires is going flat.
Kenseth has dropped to 29th in the running order. He's back there with Hamlin, Stremme, and Mark Martin. Carl Edwards and Kurt Busch.
Kurt Busch getting down on the bottom of Carl Edwards, but gets a good bite from the middle off.
Watching Carl today, Dave?
Yeah, and he lost some spots on pit road, had a little trouble getting out of his pit box. David Gilliland had pitted late and right in front of him, so they spoke to the 38 team and think they might have that worked out for the future, but Carl trying to make up some ground again in the 99.
Matt Kenseth has lost another spot, falling back to 30th. There's the race leader. Tony Stewart leads by 2 seconds over Dale Earnhardt Jr. You're watching the Dickies 500 live on NBC.
I agree, that was. He finally gets it straightened out about halfway down the backstretch.
Dave.
And his comments were, holy cow, I was looking out the right side window.
Not a good thing, Dave.
No, unless you do that in Wally's World, though, don't you?
I did that
the
once.
The passengers always look out the right side window.
I'd forgotten about how you had your hands full here in that thing a year ago. Sixth spot here.
There. Clint Boyer takes a spot away for now.
I mentioned Truex, he loses a spot.
Yep. You can say something about Boyer winning the truck race here if you want. Went to victory lane on Friday. This is for second. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has it. Jimmy Johnson's going to try and take it away. These guys about 4 seconds behind race leader Tony Stewart.
They must have adjusted on Junior's car quite a bit because he's been a lot better now on the longer runs.
You know, and these guys have switched everything we know about him. I mean, Jimmy Johnson usually runs on the very bottom of the racetrack down next to the white line, and Junior runs on top. It's reversed today. What's going on with the world?
Johnson trying to take the position. This is for second behind Tony Stewart. Jimmy's got it for now. Well, I'll tell you, the last 3 weeks, everything has been going Jimmy Johnson's way. He knows that he's got Big Mo on his side.
I do feel the momentum gaining. We've had the speed, we just haven't had the finishes. And then a lot of crazy things have gone on in this chase that we've all watched and witnessed. And now there's, 5, 6, 7 car shootout for the championship with 3 to go. So, I'm glad to be in this position. That's all you can ask for. And I'm very thankful for my Lowe's team put me in this position every year I've been in the sport. So I feel very lucky and at the same time very hungry to try to win a championship.
Jimmy Johnson talked about when he got here at Texas this weekend that earlier this week he had a dream about being a champion. He said in past years he used to dream about all the things that could go wrong in trying to win this championship. This year he says everything is positive and he's looking good in this race so far. Marty?
Well, Alan, since battling Jimmy Johnson for second, Dale Earnhardt Jr. has fallen back to fourth. Dale was waiting to see if Casey Kane had gotten around him. They talked to him, BP, exactly to what you're talking about. They said the other fast cars are running about a lane higher than you are. Junior came back on the radio and said, I know they are. I can't run up there. I know they're faster than me. If I could run up there, I would. And now you see Junior try it. He's going to try in the high line, but he's been stuck on that bottom all day long, BP. You're exactly right.
Well, you got to go sometimes where the car tells you to go. And you saw Stewart. Well, I think Stewart was probably searching because he's bored. But these other guys are looking for some grip.
Bored at 180 miles per hour. Hey, guess what? Sun's coming out at the Texas Motor Speedway. Right now it's shining on Tony Stewart in the Dickies 500.
That car that he won so handily with yesterday was exactly the same as today's car.
And right now he's currently running 8th under caution. Pit road would be a very busy place. That caution helps out Mark Martin a little bit. It saved him from going a lap down, but he's still got his hands full, doesn't he?
I don't think Mark sees it as much help today.
Well, maybe Pat Trison and the boys can make it a little bit better. Elliott Sadler in the 19 car is the lucky dog. He'll come around, be the 34th car running on the lead lap. Pit road will be open this time. There you see Tony Stewart in that orange 20 car going to lead a big parade to their pit stalls. I'm guessing Alan Bestwick will be first with that 48 car.
And it will be a 4-tire change for Jimmy Johnson. They're also going to make a small adjustment to the track bar on this car. You see the wrench going into the hole in the right rear of the windshield. Jimmy looking for help with front end grip in the turns. Matt?
At the top of your screen, the guy who's led 93 laps so far, Tony Stewart, says, I just need a tiny bit of help getting back into the throttle. Other than that, the car is almost perfect. Marty?
Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the middle of your screen says his car is a little bit loose when he's by himself. It's actually better in traffic. That's how he was able to work traffic so well. Their bigger concern is his health. More to come on that in a minute, Bill.
Thank you, Marty.
Whoa.
Little congestion there off of pit road. And a little bit more right there. Robbie Gordon sliding in front of a couple of guys. See Matt Kenseth coming off of pit road.
Once again, rear tire carrier. 38 car, David Gillen, Lance Hanna from here in Fort Worth, making another chassis adjustment on the rear Panhard bar. All right, left rear. Come on, David, tighten them up and let's go.
Tony Stewart is the race leader, but a story developing on the second place driver, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Marty.
Let's talk to Tony Eury Jr. How concerned are you about Junior's health at this point?
We were always concerned about him. I mean, he's just got a lot of heartburn right now. He's been taking Gatorade and stuff so much this week, but you know, he's feeling a little under the weather. It's shaking him up pretty bad out there just going at these speeds, but I think he'll hang in there for us and he'll take care of it.
Tried to get him a bottle of water with a straw in it, but the water spilled all over him. He said he feels like he's going to get sick inside the car. He's doing the best he can, though, and he's running awfully well right now. He's in second, Bill.
Yeah, maybe that'll take his mind off of it.
That's exactly what. It's better to run green. You don't start thinking about it until you're under the, the caution lap. So the more it goes green, the better it is for a driver.
Earnhardt did lead a lap. Got 5 bonus points just because of the way the pit stalls are positioned on pit road. So Earnhardt did get 5 bonus points. Runs second here, trying to shake free of the lap traffic with Jimmy Johnson right on his bumper.
But each time, Tony Stewart in that 20 car just squirts away from these guys.
Yeah, gets a good start. He clears the guy down on the bottom, which was Newman this time. and he can get to the bottom of the racetrack and pick up 4 or 5 car lengths a corner on the guys that are racing side by side behind him.
Junior got around Newman. Now Johnson's going to try it. Boxed in there a little bit by Jeff Green.
Now you watch Junior put distance on Jimmy Johnson because Jimmy's hung up there racing side by side. A minute ago he was right on Junior's bumper.
Just want to point out that Sterling Marlin stayed out under the caution to get 5 bonus points for leading a lap, and that's significant because he's in a very tight battle with Kyle Petty for the 35th position in owner points, and that's big, especially as we look ahead to 2007.
And the Daytona 500 specifically. The first 5 races of 2007, the top 35 in points of 2006 owner points are locked in. They don't have to. They've got to qualify for a starting position, but they will start the race, and everyone gets so concerned about the Daytona 500.
Pretty important.
Yeah.
Because once you miss 1 or 2 of those races at the beginning of the season, that is a very, very difficult hole to dig yourself out of points-wise.
Point out that Michael Waltrip has retired from the race with a blown engine, currently scored 42nd. And now Elliott Sadler has gone to the garage as well. He's 41st, and Jeff Burton's car remains in the garage while the crew continues to work on that after he blew a tire and hit the front stretch wall.
See Harvick and Gordon here. They're just happen to be patient right now. They've got guys in front of him that are a lap or more down, but they're running side by side like Ward Burton and I guess that's Dale Jarrett, the 66 car. Jeff Green is right there.
And Harvick in that 29 looked like he struggled a little bit at the early going in this race, but now he's currently running in the 5th position.
And also trying to work his way up in the championship standings. Right now, Kevin Harvick 4th in the points and trying to just not let any of that pressure build up on him or his team.
This year, I really hadn't let a whole lot eat me up. I mean, you know, sometimes you get caught up in kind of reacting to some of the, you know, what we perceive as you know, mood points of things that really wouldn't matter in our world that people make a big deal out of. So all in all, I just kind of gone with the flow this year and not got caught up in one week. No matter how good or how bad it's been, you have to go to the next week and do the best you can.
Going with the flow, Bill, means that the fun factor has been high this year in Busch and Nextel Cup, and the pressure has been down. If Harvick can pull off the sweep, as he's already up to 5th, that'll be the 3rd Busch Cup sweep this season, and that would be a NASCAR record for most sweeps in a single season by the same driver. Harvick says the car is just can't be any freer on entry. They need to get the tightness on exit. They've made an air pressure change to try to fix that. He hasn't said anything since.
And something to think about, there's never been a Busch Cup sweep here at the Texas Motor Speedway. Harvick trying to do it for the first time.
Hey, what, Dale Jarrett's giving Harvick fits right there. Finally moves up on the high side, and Harvick does get by him.
Tony Stewart in front of Dale Earnhardt Jr. by 1 point, well, basically almost 2 seconds. This is Jeff Gordon in 6th, Casey Kane in 7th, Kane in that 9 car. A couple of guys in the chase, but in a very desperate situation. Trying to improve their position.
Oh,
how about
Casey
that?
Kane down the bottom. They go 3 wide. Got away with it.
Ryan Newman in that 12 car, a couple of laps down. Marty?
Casey really wanted to get around the 24 car, and you see him diving underneath him again. He said that because when you get behind other cars, he said the pace is so fast here that the cars are extremely tight, so it makes it hard to get around other race cars. He said on the last stop before this one, whatever you did to the car, we lost the front end and the back end. So on this most recent stop, they undid the adjustments before that, and the car's back to where it was earlier. Matt?
Gordon right down on the bottom. Now he told Steve Letarte, his crew chief, we've made about 30% improvements of where I need this race car to be. It is still too tight. Significant changes again on the last stop for Gordon, currently running in that 6th position, trying for his first Texas win.
Yeah, you're going to hear a lot about that the next couple of weeks. Gordon has not won here, has not won at Phoenix, has not won at Homestead. Their mission now, get a couple of victories See how it all plays out when the green flag comes out at Homestead. Tony.
Ignition box inside the car, and that might have been what slowed him down for a second, but no definitive word down here quite yet.
And the ignition box really is the heart of that whole setup.
That's right, because it takes those 12 volts and multiplies them by about 50,000 times, so that you got about 500,000 volts going to the spark plug. And that's why that they have so much trouble with them, because it gets so hot trying to come up with that kind of juice and electricity, they burn the wires up.
And that's why they run 2 of them. Jeff Burton, back out on the racetrack, currently scored 43rd, 67 laps down. If he stays on the track and out of trouble, he will at least pass Michael Waltrip and Elliott Sadler. Took the crew just over 42 minutes to make the repairs to that 31 car. Hit the wall along the front stretch after cutting a right front tire. Updated championship standings. And remember, a couple of weeks ago, Burton was number 1. Right now, Jeff back in the 8th spot. It's Casey Kane in the 9, Kevin Harvick in the 29. Kane in 5th. Harvick runs 6th. Going around the 4 car of Ward Burton.
Track looks like it's in good condition, BP.
It sure does. These guys are able to run the bottom of the racetrack. The outside groove is working as well.
But nobody's running it as well as Tony Stewart. Leads by 4.6 seconds over Dale Earnhardt Jr., who's not feeling real well this afternoon. Under caution here at Texas, we will reach the halfway mark when the field gets to the start-finish line, but we're under caution because Dale Earnhardt Jr. has hit the wall.
Yeah, Junior was struggling with the loose car, but what happened here is the 07 of Clint Boyer came up on him so fast, he got Junior aero loose. Junior got the car sideways, and unfortunately, he didn't catch it before it hit the wall.
Pit stops, Allen.
And Jimmy Johnson is in. I'm not sure it was the ignition box that was the problem on this car. I think it might have been a problem with the window net coming down. Jimmy said he was driving one-handed, maybe holding that left side net up. Matt?
Tony Stewart said, I need a little more adjustment than we made last time. So beside the small air pressure, Shaggy Larson, the catch can made a small track bar adjustment to try to get this car just a little bit tighter. Marty?
Clint Boyer's in the middle of your screen, already gone. Another excellent stop for the 07 crew, 10.3 on the stop. They've gained spots all day on pit road. No changes to the chassis, Dave.
Good pit stop for Carl Edwards. Came down pit road in the 6th position. They made a track bar adjustment down on that. His car was a little bit loose. That should help.
And there you see the crew working on the Budweiser Chevy of Dale Earnhardt Jr. You guys talked about aero loose before the race even began.
Junior, like I said, Junior has been a little bit loose anyway, but when that 07, he had such a closing rate on Dale Jr., it packed air underneath, took this air off the spoiler like BP talked about in the Home Depot virtual garage, and it was the worst place on the racetrack for that to happen. It was coming off of 4 where that wall comes out and wants to grab you every time on the exit of 4.
Watch and listen. So they work on the 8 car of Dale Earnhardt Jr. Matt Kenseth in the 17 stayed out to lead a lap. 5 bonus points for Matt. Sort out the running order when we come back.
Has been one of the fastest cars in the last 40, 50 laps. Let's see if he can do anything with Tony Stewart, because no one else has been able to.
The damage be a factor?
I think it happened far enough back on the fender that it's not going to affect the car.
Okay. Guys got to look at it on pit road. Boyer clears the lap traffic, sets out in pursuit of Tony Stewart. Kevin Harvick runs 3rd, trying to get around the lap cars. And it's Carl Edwards and Casey Kane. Matt Kenseth is 31st right now. Mark Martin is 30th. Denny Hamlin 22nd. Jimmy Johnson in the 48 car. Johnson in 6th. Let's get an update on Earnhardt Jr. from Marty.
Well, Bill, as you mentioned, a long way to go for Dale Earnhardt Jr. Restarted 34th. The team was extremely calm on the radio, both Junior and Tony Eury Jr. in making the repairs. Took 2 stops. They checked the toe to make sure the steering wheel was tracking correctly. The car is fine. They think they're going to be okay, but they have a long way to go. They did stay on the lead lap. That's the key. Junior said, make sure you keep me on the lead lap.
A couple of Hendrick cars side by side right there. The 24 of Jeff Gordon, the 48 of Jimmy Johnson.
Oh, we got a crash. Mark Martin off of 4, Sterling Marlin in the wall.
Now go low, go low.
Kenny Schrader in the wreck.
Ryan Newman got to the inside of it. There's Mark. There's Earnhardt.
We blew it right in front. We run over something.
Sterling
I think
Marlin.
that was Schrader. Was that Fatback McSwain?
Was it?
Wow, Schrader.
I got oil pressure. I'm driving around.
It looked, yeah, the way he hit, it looks like he had a tire problem. The way that waffled. Well, we'll take a look at it. See what we can see. He was headed up there. That's Schrader.
Yep.
The 22 car got a piece of that. Dave Blaney.
Then they all start wrecking behind him.
I mean, after a restart like that, if one guy has a problem, it's hard to get away from.
Looks like Sterling might have run in the back of the 6 car. There's a lot of damage to Sterling's car.
Looks like Mark clipped Sterling.
Yeah, and Sterling had all his damage with the outside retaining wall.
See Junior down there slamming on the brakes.
This is on board with Schrader.
Boy, that thing just takes off. So something, either had a tire go down or something, because that thing just took off, and they normally don't do that.
Ward Burton was the lucky dog under the previous caution. This time, Dale Jarrett, the lucky dog.
And that's going to hurt Sterling. You know, we're talking about being the top 35 in points.
Yep.
That's not going to help.
See how that shakes out as we play through the afternoon here at Texas. Schrader to the garage, working our 5th caution at the Texas Motor Speedway.
Because when he gets into 3, he's got 10 car lengths on 2nd place.
Hendrick teammates side by side. Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon behind Carl Edwards.
Looks like Jeff had the upper hand off that high groove. I promised Rick Hendrick today that I would say hello to a friend of his. Been a friend.
Oh, we got trouble. Sorry, BP. Yep. Robbie Gordon off of 2.
Matt Kenseth trying to get through it.
You know, and I was watching that while you guys were watching the race. I was watching off of 2, and Robbie tried squeezing a guy up on, I don't know who it was that was running up on the right side, but Robbie really kind of threaded the needle on that deal and got loose getting off of 2.
Rodney Wise will have to have some kind of salve on his arm tomorrow when all these caution flags.
Now, see here, he gets up in, okay, it was Biffle, and he squeezed up there and just got the car loose getting off the corner. Biffle does a real nice job avoiding that wreck.
Jeff Green is the lucky dog, and I think that'll make Tony Stewart happy because Green has been relatively strong on these restarts.
I don't know if that's going to make him happy or unhappy, because it's really
He's holding up the other guys.
Yeah.
That's right. Good point.
Ooh, right in front of Kenseth again.
We got to give Matt an onboard camera.
Yeah. Watch up high there. That camera guy never even flinched.
No, those are talented people. On board with Junior.
Got one spinning on the back stretch. Get low, get low, get low. Lane's clear now, June.
I like the just stop theory.
As long as somebody doesn't hit you from behind,
exactly
that's a
right.
great theory.
Earnhardt back in 28th. Tony Stewart, the race leader, under caution at Texas. Spots. hasn't passed a car.
That's amazing.
Guys coming to pit road. Matt's staying out, so he's worked his way up to 17th, and he just managed to tiptoe through the Robbie Gordon wreck. Watch and listen.
Spin here, back it down, stay right there, back it down. Come on now, come on, don't let the cars hit you from behind. Watch this step, come high if you need to. Oh! That was interesting. That was pure blind for about 3 seconds.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Just in all that smoke.
That's the problem. These guys today are nailing the throttle. Excuse me. Nailing the throttle, trying to spin these cars around to avoid hitting the wall. And they put up such a cloud of tire smoke, it's impossible to see behind them.
Earnhardt Jr., the work continues, Marty.
Just doing my math real quick, Bill. I believe that's the number 7 stop for these guys to fix this race car, and they've topped off right here on lap 184, and they might play a little fuel strategy game here. They're also talking about maybe a 2-tire stop later on. Junior said if we do a 2-tire thing, as he called it, somewhat later, I think we might have a good enough car to still finish in the top 10 today.
Dale Earnhardt Jr., too fast exiting.
Marty, what has he been saying? What's the car doing right now? Has he been...
When he was out running earlier, while he said it felt like it was driving like a wrecked race car. They've made 6 stops since then, though, trying to fix that race car and make it better, Bill.
Thank you, sir. 5 cars pitted, 6 including Robbie Gordon. Basically, the top 28 stayed on the track.
Stewart didn't get the jump he's been getting. I mean, he's still got a pretty good jump, but not 10 car lengths like he has been.
Edwards and Gordon.
Oh, they're going to split waffle.
Hopefully.
Yeah, he thought better of it.
Well, that really helped out Jimmy Johnson right there.
Did not help Carl Edwards.
No. My gosh, he's lost 4 positions, and here comes the 41 of Sorensen trying to move up on the inside as well.
I mean, you can't.
Looks like Travis tried to get out of his way there. Kurt Busch runs 7th, Sorensen 8th, Carl Edwards 9th, Casey Mears in the 10th spot. There's the 2 Hendrick cars side by side again. What were you saying about Rick?
Oh, I'm saying that he wanted me to say hello to a friend of his. Been a friend for about 30 years. He's the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center awaiting a liver transplant. Junior Barber, and he just wants Junior to know that he's thinking about him and loves him. How's that?
Well done. Boy, Johnson on the move there. How about the 24, Matt?
Still hasn't led a lap to pick up those extra 5 bonus points. Jeff also says it's just been very frustrating today because the back of the car just is not anywhere close to being in the racetrack. Significant track bar adjustment. They went down 2 rounds. Big air pressure change on the left side as well. Just trying to find some balance for this 24 car.
All these crews working hard. 145 to go. Casey Kane looking back. Jeff Gordon in his rearview mirror. Then there's Kurt Busch. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is 31st right now. Had to restart at the tail end of the longest line after speeding, exiting pit road. Gordon runs in the 6th spot. Kurt Busch trying to rope him in. Update on the 2 from Allen.
Well, Bill, you remember way back on the very first pit stop of this race at lap 42, Kurt Busch came in leading. They had a lug nut fall off on the right front and had to take the time to go back around and put it on. He lost 10 spots on that pit stop. And the simple act of getting put back in traffic with this race car has held them up for the entire race. Kurt has lamented that on the team radio ever since. They've been trying to adjust to compensate for it and see if they can race their way back to the front.
Well, he's racing hard now, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's had problems with that car around other cars, and you know, when he gets in clean air, he can catch a car, but when he gets to him, he struggles, and he's been fighting that since that first pit stop, right? Like Alan said.
Still side by side with Gordon.
And watching that 41 car behind these two Remember last year, Casey Mears driving this 41 car? At times was the class of the field here. And Jimmy Elliott, your crew chief on this 41, has a real good setup for this racetrack.
Gordon trying to edge away from Busch. Sorensen right there now. This goes on about 5 seconds behind. Tony Stewart, Greg Biffle on pit road. This is unscheduled, Dave.
Thinks he has a right side tire going down. Not sure which one it is. They're also going to make a wedge adjustment. The car was just really getting away from him at the restart. Restarted 14th. He was back to 20th in 2 laps.
The Busch-Gordon battle continues. While Sorensen watches. Trying to hold it down there.
I mean, like I said, it seems like it dropped back about 5 or 6 car lengths and gets right back to the 24. But then he gets right there within a car length, and he can't do anything with them.
It helps when Jeff Gordon runs a different line than he does. Oh. Paul Menard looks like an engine problem.
And the caution out. Broke a piston, he thinks.
They make a big mess.
This will be caution number 8.
We see him slowing down there, the yellow car on the inside. But
too late.
Too late.
Greg Biffle is the lucky dog. He'll come around and be the 33rd car on the lead lap.
I'm telling you, Stewart's bored. When you start bump drafting the pace car, he's looking for some fun.
Pace car driver is Brett Bodine.
Smiling.
Oh, yeah, he's having a big time.
NASCAR has asked Tony to back off a little bit, and he did. Is he trying to make Brett loose? Is that what he's trying to do?
If he was trying, it would have been done. I think he's trying to scratch the paint job.
Oh, don't do that.
Hey, some of those Tony Stewart fans would love to buy a Corvette that's been run by Tony Stewart.
Right.
And they wouldn't fix the damage either, would they?
You know, this 20 crew has held service all day. He's gone in with a lead. He comes out with a lead. Can he keep it up?
On the last run of the race, Jimmy Johnson of his car said, "I just can't run anybody down." Chad Canal said, "We'll get you a spot on the pit stop." We'll see how it turns out. 4 tire change here, Matt.
Stewart left his mark on the back of the pace car team. Left their mark on pit road so far today. Good, solid stops. Says the car is zeroing in on where he needs the balance to be. Marty.
Clint Boyer says this car is a little bit loose, but do not touch it. Loose means fast. And the stop this on the pit road right now for these guys going very well. They've been excellent on pit road today. And another good stop for the 07 crew. They might get the 20, but it's going to be close.
It's going to be awfully close. They can't speed.
Here's the Nextel race off of pit road. Kyle Busch. Apparently just a 2-tire stop.
Not sure if we've heard the end of that race off of pit road,
no.
BP.
No, we might not. NASCAR might have a say in that.
Nextel celebrating speed, teamwork, and getting things done instantly. Yes, they're coming. There they are. Wow, look at that. Sort out the running order, and we come back. Ladies and gentlemen, the Allstate Good Hands driver.
We see Brian Vickers brush the wall off turn 4, and then this incredible save. Had the car sideways for about 200-300 yards and saved it somehow.
Allstate, official insurance sponsor of NASCAR. What did he say? I was looking out the right side window.
What he told his crew.
Jimmy Johnson trying to capture his first NASCAR Nextel Cup Series championship. Right now in front by 9 points.
Yeah, those guys they're sick of finishing second.
You remember how his chase started in the wall at New Hampshire. Jamie McMurray in the 26 and Brian Vickers in the 25 did not pit. And according to my notes, they last pitted on lap 177. Kyle Busch in the 5 took 2 tires.
If this isn't a wreck, BP, I'd be surprised.
That very fast 20 car is right behind him in 4th.
Well, I just wonder if the 25 and 5 didn't do this strategy to try to help Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon. Just to see what it would do, what it did to the car, and what they might do on a pit stop with 20 or 30 to go.
Stewart working on it.
Stewart is just flying right now. Going to get the 25. I mean, he's going to pass these guys almost fairly quickly. Yeah, I mean,
just a little over a lap.
But I just didn't know if they had wrecked before he got to the front.
He's only got McMurray left. Dave?
No talk from the 5 bunch about helping their teammate, but Kyle Busch just wants clean air on that 5 car. Has been frustrated in traffic all day. They said, what the heck, let's take a shot and get you toward the front.
But what, Alan?
Well, I just got to tell you about the thinking in Jamie McMurray's team's pits, which is, what do they got to lose? They pitted at lap 175, yes, but remember, we haven't run a whole lot of green flag laps since then. These 2 runs of the race have been fairly short because we had another caution in between there. So they don't have a lot of laps on their tires. And considering where they've been running and where they started all day, why not see if we can pick up a few spots on the cheap?
So what was that butt all about?
That butt was, I was just wondering if, you know, changing the 2 and getting in clean air, but how long that would be good with everybody else changing 4 tires if it wouldn't put them back in traffic real quick.
Bernsey?
Well, and part of the thinking is that you have the chance to get a mid-run caution when everyone wants to come back in, and you haven't lost too much, Wally. Don't you think that's the game?
No, that if you look at it that way, absolutely.
Boy, that's definitely.
But that's a lot of butts.
Yeah, that's a.
Actually, Kyle's running pretty good right now. I thought he would have lost 3 or 4 positions right off the green flag, but he's hanging in there in 2nd spot.
Matt Kenseth in that 17 car runs 18th. Dale Earnhardt Jr. 19th. Whoa! Kenseth looking a little loose.
Marty, Bill, the 8-tire thing Dale Earnhardt Jr. wanted to try happened on this last stop. They restarted 20th, as you mentioned. Junior said the car is actually not too bad, a little too tight in the center of the corner. They'll probably take 4 here, maybe try 2 tires later in the race as well. They'll have to see how it works out on this run. Alan?
The Matt Kenseth team continues to work on his car. They added a spring rubber a couple of stops back to try and help the handling, and they continue to try and chip away and get toward the front of the field. A top 8 car is what they thought they had at the start of the day. Obviously, it hasn't been that way so far. Jack Roush has just come down to visit with Robbie Reiser and talk about it.
This is for 6th. McMurray, Gordon. Jeff trying the inside. You see Kurt Busch just ahead of them. Kurt actually has the 6th spot. Update on Gordon from Matt.
Bill, the 4-time champ Gordon, has gone back and forth between tight and loose. Right now, he says the car is just so free. He cannot even put any wheel into it in the corner, or he feels like the car is just going to absolutely spin out in the last stop. Air pressure change again. They also went down on the track bar just to try to tighten up this 24 car.
Casey Kane's going to try and take the position. Kane falls in line behind Gordon. McMurray holding his own for now after not pitting under the most recent caution. Gordon working real hard to try and get by him. Now Gordon and Kane clear the 26. Casey and Gordon side by side, and Casey's got the position. Hard racing here with 127 to go. Coming into this race, Tony Stewart had led the most laps in 5 races this season. He won 3 of them. Led 146 at Atlanta last.
For an early pit stop. Here's a team that really needs to find something for 2007 on these mile-and-a-half tracks. On the intermediate speedways this year, their average finish is 25th. Dave?
Reed Sorensen is running a car that's kind of old school, according to his crew chief, Jimmy Elledge. It's one that is from earlier this year, but they've made some updates to it. It runs in the top 10. Just made a slight adjustment for Reed last time, an air pressure adjustment. They expect to be good the longer they run. Matt?
Running ninth is Jeff Gordon. He says, boy, what a difference a year makes for this team and their intermediate track program. And has really turned around, had a lot of confidence coming in about maybe scoring that first win here at Texas, but it felt like of the final 3 tracks, this may very well be the toughest. Gordon says the car is still tight on exit. EB?
Early part of the race, former NASCAR Busch Series champ Martin Truex Jr. made a spirited charge up from his starting spot in 34th into the top 10. Then the handling got off and they fell back a little bit. Now this last adjustment, Truex says the car's responding well. He's just chipped his way back into the top 10. Marty?
Alan, let's update you on Dale Earnhardt Jr. Restarted 20th, came on the radio to the guy, said, did not tell you I was tight, need to fix that condition a little bit more. Tight in the center, needs a little more forward bite coming off the corner, but he's picked up 5 spots since we've gone green. Obviously, the A car getting better. Alan?
Well, Matt Kenseth's team continues to adjust on this 17 car, and he continues to move forward in this run of the race. Matt is up to 18th position now. Kyle Petty will be the next car he'll have to pass for a spot. These guys continuing to try and dial the handling into this race car. It's been a struggle all day. Matt?
Alan, today's performance for Denny Hamlin has to come as a complete shock. His average finish in 2 Nextel Cup starts at Texas is 5th. Felt like this was going to be the race where they could really step up and make a push in the points, but they have struggled big time. The car just way too tight. They have pushed in spring rubbers, pitted twice under the caution back on lap 176. Big adjustment trying to get this car to free up. Meanwhile, Mark Martin, his day just continues to get worse, involved in that spin on the front stretch, currently running back in the 30th position. Knows now if he wants to get another win for Jack Roush, it's going to have to come either next week at Phoenix or the season finale at Homestead. Dave?
Jeff Burton brought out the caution on lap 90, ran the car into the wall when a right front tire went down. They repaired that car some 67 laps down. He now uses his spotter in a little different way. As cars come toward him, he says, tell the guy behind me he doesn't need to drive through me, and ask him which way he'd prefer to pass me. Jeff being very kind to everyone who wants to go by him late in the stages of this race. Bill?
Thank you, Dave. 31 cars on the lead lap. Ward Burton running in the 31st position. Stewart leads by 4 seconds over Clint Boyer. And there you can see how strong he has been throughout the day. Tony Stewart working out, eating a little better, losing some weight, and trying to put the field in his mirror here at Texas. Seal the deal, GP. It's Kyle Busch in the 5, Reed down low.
Wow, both Busch brothers got lucky on that one.
Because he's going to go back across the racetrack. Wow.
Almost got his brother. BP, I think he just got under there and got loose.
He might have.
Because you already see the one tire blew when he had him locked up.
I see the right rear is flat, but it might have been caused by the flat spot that he put in there when he slammed on the brakes.
102 to go. Pit road will be open this time. Joe Nemechek in the 01 car is the lucky dog. Tony Stewart's the race leader. Then it's Clint Boyer, Jimmy Johnson, Casey Kane, Kyle Busch. Here they come, Alan.
Well, Jimmy Johnson's been around the top 5 just about all day, but just hasn't had enough to get up and run with Tony Stewart. Going to make an air pressure adjustment in the right rear this time. See if that makes the difference for the 48. Matt?
Small air pressure change in the right front for Tony Stewart. The winds have picked up. The track temperatures come down about another 4 degrees. Is trying to stay with this racetrack here in Texas. Marty?
Clint Boyer's in the middle of your screen, that 07 car. He said, man, I'm hanging on to this car. It's extremely loose, meaning the back end wants to kick around, but I'm afraid to make any changes to it. Once again, no changes to the 07 car. Dave?
Kyle Busch is now trying to leave his pit. Wow, just barely gets around the 16 bunch. A 4-tire change and wedge both sides a little tight, and so is that exit.
I'm guessing that was a little close, huh, Dave?
Man, the 16 guys are lucky because Kyle made a hard right turn.
So the 2-tire change actually worked for Kyle because
yes,
it worked. He hung up there in the top 10. He got the break, he got the caution, came in, changed 4. Now he's got the track position.
Good call in the pits. You see the race off of pit road. Stewart, Clint Boyer, Casey Kane, Jimmy Johnson. And there's Kyle under caution with 101 to go at Texas. Sunday Night Lights at the Texas Motor Speedway in Fort Worth. And the excitement of pit road. Here's what Dave was watching.
Yeah, watch this as the 5-car leaves and the rear tire changer on the 16 of Greg Biffle. Joe Slingerland looks at, where did you come from? And then the 11 car goes down pit road and there's a tire bouncing in front of him.
I think Casey Mears hit Bliss's tire when he left his pit and sent it for a ride.
Tell you what,
that guy did a pretty good run over there picking that thing up. Those are heavy.
Yes, they are. About 65 pounds with the inner liner in them. Back to green with 98 to go. Stewart, Boyer, Kane, Johnson, and Kyle Busch. And now Kyle Busch is thinking, we did it. We got me up here. Our strategy worked. Now I'm going for it. Right behind his teammate in the 48.
But it doesn't take Tony Stewart long to put a few car lengths on second place.
Tell you what, that car gets some restarts.
Jeff Gordon in 9th back there. Quapple in that 32 is a couple of laps down.
I tell you, Quapple has had his hands full all day long. That car does not look like it's been too much fun today. And
tries to get up and get out of the way. Kurt Busch, Martin Truex Jr. go by. There's Junior in the 8. Made his way up to 12th now.
I tell you, I'm amazed that this car is running as well as it is after he hit the wall of turn 4 as hard as he did.
Because you didn't think the damage to the back of the car was going to be substantial enough that they wouldn't be able to go anywhere.
Yeah, I thought that he was going to be in the rear trailing arms and the rear panhard bar and all that stuff. But Marty, evidently, I was wrong.
And remember, DP, too, at one point this team was 34th. Junior also not feeling well. I think he's a little more determined to get back to the front. He said the car is not driving that badly, just a little bit too tight. Bill, that's a battle for second place. Casey Kane taking it from Clint Boyer.
Thanks, Marty. Kane looking back at Boyer. There's a little over a second behind Stewart. Earnhardt Jr. has made his way to 11th now. 5 chasers run inside the top 8.
And this is real important for those guys. I mean, for everybody right now, you've got to get a good finish out of here. You're losing opportunities. I mean, Junior was a second in points right before that happened because he was running second place. So these guys know they need to come out of here with a good finish if they're still going to have a shot at winning that championship at Homestead.
Junior, by going by Scott Riggs, I think is now 80 points behind Jimmy Johnson. What did he start today? 84 back?
Yes.
So it's kind of a wash. He's passed a bunch of cars. And Kevin Harvick going by Carl Edwards in 99. That's the 6th position. He made that look easy.
You get inside 100 to go when the race is on, isn't it?
Man, I'm telling you.
Update on Harvick from Matt.
His spotter, Billy O'Day, was trying to help him from the spotter stand, telling him what the 9 of Casey Kane was doing on the racetrack, which was helping. Casey explained to him that the 9 was hitting a lighter spot on the pavement high in turn 2 that seemed to help him on exit, picking up a bunch of time. The problem is Kevin was trying to find that spot to see if it helped him, but boy, what a good run they are having currently in the 6th position.
After a tough week last Sunday at Atlanta. Harvick trying to hang on to his championship chances. His teammate Jeff Burton currently scored 42nd after he blew a tire and hit the front stretch wall early in the race. Riggs and Gordon. Riggs taking the 9th position. Gordon in 10th. Scott Riggs looking for the big finish. Scott Earnhardt right in his windshield right now. Drift up the track. Tell you what, there's some good racing going on, but Tony Stewart is having a day to himself. Leads by a 1.5 seconds here at Texas.
You're a rookie driver. When you feel that comfort, you don't want to change the car. You don't want to make a change, but a veteran would know that, okay, this track is cooling down. We're going to have to make a change, or I'm going to lose that comfort. What was that word that Marty used?
Comfortability.
Comfortability of a car.
Comfortability, Wally.
Thank you, Marty.
I used it because I heard someone else say it. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Jeff Gordon in 10th. Martin Truex Jr. in 11th. They're behind 9th place Dale Earnhardt Jr. Boy, Truex has had another good run. Can he put a big finish on it for himself?
Don't say anything, BP.
Yeah, just watch the race, Benny. All right?
Gotcha. These guys need a good finish. They have just awful luck this year. Had a great run going last week. Good one going here.
And I'm telling you, wait till they get to Homestead. They got some for him at Homestead.
Yeah, I talked to Martin about that. They were pretty happy about that test. He was looking forward to this race too, though. Said he had a good car.
Still got 79 laps. More on Truex, AB?
Yeah, Wally said Martin felt he had a good car, but this isn't the car they wanted to bring here. They wanted to bring the car they ran in Atlanta last week. Then when they had problems with it, they'd sustained some damage. They had a bearing problem go out, a flat tire, which resulted in body damage. They took the car back to their shops outside of Charlotte, spent until 2 in the afternoon Monday working on it with the intention of bringing it here. Then realized they had too much damage, and the caution flag's out.
Caution on the speedway with 78 to go.
Robbie Gordon is very slow. I'm assuming this is what has brought the caution flag out.
So, Robbie, you had high hopes after a strong qualifying run.
Uh-oh.
Blew an engine right there.
Sees his day go up in smoke. Travis Kvapil will be the lucky dog. Gets one of his laps back. Robbie heads for the garage.
All right, let's see if this 20 crew can hold service yet one more time.
Boy, they have been strong, haven't they? Last week and this week. They got Tony out front. His car's running well, handling well. He's feeling good.
Tony's doing a great job driving, and their pit crew keeps making pit stops as fast as anyone else.
Crew Chief Greg Zipadelli's guys getting ready to go over the wall here. The reigning NASCAR Nextel Cup Series champion already has 2 wins in the 2006 chase portion of the season, but not eligible for the championship this year.
Good thing for everybody else in the top 10.
Running really well. Pit road will be open this time. What'd you get for a fuel window here, BP?
About 62 to maybe 66.
Okay.
At the max.
So you can't make it from here unless you get a lot of caution laps. See how it all plays out. Time for the guys on pit road to shine, and you have to make sure you don't get a speeding ticket. Alan, here we go.
Jimmy Johnson asked his crew to just tickle the air pressure a little bit on the car. An adjustment in the right rear. Really happy with the way it's handling. Let's see if the crew can pick him up a spot here on these sets of pit stops. Matt?
The co-pit crew coaches for Gibbs, Paul Alep, and Al Shuford, very proud of their guys today. Strong stops. 2/10 of an air pressure change in the left rear tire. Stewart says needs just a little help getting back into the gas. Marty?
Casey Kane's that 9 car in the middle of your screen. He said, I want the same adjustments you made last time. Car is just a little bit too tight, meaning it won't turn half around up on the track bar, half around down. Left rear wedge. Dave?
Kyle Busch leaving pit road clearly misses the 16 bunch this time. They made just a slight air pressure adjustment. Car a little hard to turn past the center of the corner.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Looks like Boyer lost a few spots there.
See how this all plays out. Tony Stewart's boys getting it done on pit road. He has been done. And we said you can't make any mistakes on pit road, but some guys did. Matt Kenseth, one of the championship contenders, too fast exiting. We'll have to start at the tail end of the longest line. There's Matt in that 17 car. And also issues for Clint Boyer.
I guess a lug nut jammed up on the right rear of his car, and he came in 4th. Came in the pits 4th, came out 11th.
Tony Stewart went in as the race leader and is the race leader. For all the people that work at Joe Gibbs Racing, here are the guys that go over the wall and get it done on the 20 car.
Craig Zipadelli, Berlin, Connecticut.
Tom Dean, Long Valley, New Jersey.
Ira Joe Hussey, Manchester, New Hampshire.
Jason Lee, Willimantic, Connecticut.
Jody Fortson, China Grove, North Carolina.
Todd Foster, Birmingham, Alabama.
Jeff Patterson, Escondido, California.
Brian Larson, Escanaba, Michigan.
You can't make the mistakes on pit road, and those guys don't. You see the 7 stops today, 13.6.
Well, the 17 car, since he's got to go to the back, has just stopped and topped off. I wonder if that means anything about trying to go the rest of the way.
Well, BP, 74 to go. And I guess if they got the right cautions and all the planets lined up.
Yeah.
But those guys specialize in running out of fuel. You know.
That's true. Not sure they're the guys who do it.
Yep. Alan?
I will clarify just a little bit. Robbie has already told Matt this was kind of Matt's idea. Should we come down and top off the fuel? Robbie Reiser, the crew chief, told him we can't make it to the finish anyway. But if this race goes green and those last pit stops are splash and dashes under green, they'll need to spend less time here than the other guys. Maybe they can pick up some spots. They'll take anything they can get right now.
No kidding. Gonna have to restart 30th. See how it all plays out. You think everybody's racing for second today?
I think everybody's racing for second tonight. Now, this is there again. This is the time where Casey Kane does come on, the time of the race, but I just have not seen anybody that's got anything for that 20 car. Tony Stewart.
73 to go, and Stewart takes off. 2 tires stopped for Greg Biffle in that 16 car. That's how we got to the 3rd position.
Whoa, Kyle Busch with a strong move up in front of Harvick. Gets loose when he gets in front of him, but hangs on to it. Junior goes down underneath the 29 now, but gonna get blocked in. Yep.
Dale Jarrett in the 88.
Junior sits in 7th.
Oh, he's got Riggs on his bumper, and then Truex Jr. And there's Boyer back there in that 07 car. Big bump down there in turn 1 of the tunnel. Update on Earnhardt, Marty.
I think, Bill, they're fully back. They're about 10 laps short from making it all the way on fuel. Junior said that that was much better on that run. Right there, they made no changes. He said, if you're going to make my car looser, I feel like it'll be too loose. Make it tighter, I feel like it'll be too tight. Let's leave it right where it is. This may be our last stop of the night, so don't make any changes to it. I like the car where it is. What a rally for this team. They were 34th at one point, Bill. Now they're 7th.
Has Earnhardt said how he's feeling lately, Marty?
He has not mentioned how he's feeling, Bill, but the crew, I'm glad you asked that, is a little worried that when he hit the wall, he might have knocked in the crush panels on the right side. Those crush panels keep out all the fumes from the race car, so they're a little concerned about that. Again, they handed him on about an 8-inch piece of tape about 6 toms early in the race, trying to settle down his stomach, but obviously he's had the flu all week and clearly doesn't feel very well, but he hasn't mentioned it lately.
He picks up a couple more positions, he'll be feeling a lot better. Runs in 7th. And the big thing is he's got 3 chasers directly in front of him. Johnson, Kyle Busch, and Kevin Harvick. Strong comeback. Tony Uri Jr., Dale Earnhardt Jr. in that 8 bunch.
Earnhardt Jr. 67 back.
That's manageable. 2 to go after today in the chase for the Nextel Cup.
He gained 17 today. Look at this. It's Casey Kane's time to go, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is, like I said, this is normally the time where Casey Kane starts shining, this time of the race. And I wasn't sure if Stewart was showing everything either, because nobody's actually pressured him the whole race. So we'll see if Casey Kane can get it done.
Other than restarts, this is the first time he's seen anybody in his rearview mirror all day. Marty?
And Bill, this is actually the worst part of the run for Kasey Kahne. Early in the run, his car is a little bit too tight, meaning he can't get the car to turn. But Kasey said, as he was kind of funny as he came in under the caution, said, I'm driving the fool out of this car, and I can't catch that 20. He said he's driving something a little different. He doesn't have to worry about how he points his car into the corners. I have to set myself up going into the corner to make sure my exit is okay. Matt?
Tony Stewart's car, Marty, has been nothing but incredible today. He told the team just how great that race car is. And Wally, you touched on it earlier. The guys in the chase have to be thankful that Stewart didn't make it in. If he had made it in by a wild card from the 11th position, like some of the ideas that people have thrown around to maybe tweak the chase, he would have entered Texas 13 markers out of the lead. More wins and more points scored than any chase drivers so far in these 8 races.
Yeah, but they've been able to use a different strategy because they weren't in the chase. Right now, he's just trying to focus on the race. Kasey Kahne on his bumper.
And probably the last guy he wants on his bumper, because the line that Stewart runs is the low line. And the guy that's really good at the high line is in his mirror. So there's not a whole lot Stewart can do if that high line starts working for Kasey Kahne, because Stewart doesn't want to run up there.
He does not want to run up there, so that means that Kasey Kahne can get some air on his car to get some downforce to get him through the turns. If he had to follow Tony Stewart, then he would start losing the front end off the corner. And that might be why Tony's coming up a little bit off turn 2 to get pulled up in front of the 9 car.
Yeah, give him a little of that dirty air getting off the corners.
Jimmy Johnson in the 48, Greg Biffle in the 16. Johnson currently owns the championship lead. That's Hendrick against Roush right there. That's for the 3rd position. Update on Biffle from Dave.
Yeah, Roush didn't start out very good today. Greg Biffle started this race 39th, and his crew chief Doug Richard told me that they weren't that great. They needed to try something late here. I just checked with him. He said, yeah, how well the 5 car did with 2 tires did influence us. We feel like this is what we need to the end of the race. Track position, everything now for the 16. The question is, can he outrace these guys at the end?
We'll see. Roush Racing has won 5 of the 11 races here at Texas. Johnson gets the position. Harvick closes in behind him. Kahne working the high groove in second behind race leader Tony Stewart. There's Johnson in 3rd. Biffle in 4th. Harvick coming. Oh! Just like out of turn 4. Turn 2, that wall just jumps out to meet you, doesn't it?
Yeah. Now, Biffle took 2 tires, right?
Yes. Harvick trying to get the position and does.
And I think Biffle in the 16 car is running about like Kyle Busch did in the 5 car when he had his 2 tire stop.
So he's hoping strategy works for him as well. Matt.
Bill taking a page out of Jimmy Johnson's notebook. Kevin Harvick knows that you can still have a big swing as far as the way the championship standings look, with just a little bit of misfortune for others and some good luck for you. When the lights went on here at Texas and the sun went down, Harvick's car has really come to life. They've made some significant adjustments throughout the day. The last stop, though, just a small wedge and track bar adjustment. He's changed his lineup a little bit, and it has really seemed to help this race car.
And talking about Jimmy Johnson, the 3rd place running car, just been told by his crew chief Chad Canals that Kevin Harvick is running faster lap times than him. Harvick in the 29, so Johnson looking at him in the rearview mirror. Chad told me this morning that, you know, you talk about Tony Stewart, who's been good in the chase, but except for a couple of things that really were out of their control, getting crashed in New Hampshire and getting crashed on the last lap racing for the win at Talladega, Chad said we would be the championship leader right now. Performance has not been our problem. Luck has been. They've had good luck these last few weeks, and they finished no worse than 2nd.
Yeah, the Jimmy Johnson that's going to challenge for the championship is the one we've seen the last 3 weeks. When everything comes together, they get the strong finish, the win at Martinsville. And while they did run well in some of those earlier races, they didn't have the luck or the situations to help them get to the front. Earnhardt Jr. and Scott Riggs. Jr. in 7th. Trying to close in on that 5 car. That's the 6th position. Then Biffle on 2 tires would be next. Boy, if Earnhardt Jr. gets a top 5 out of this one.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, those guys slammed the wall pretty hard getting off of 4.
And he didn't, and he has been sick. Been sick all weekend, wasn't feeling well. Told his crew earlier, wasn't feeling well on the seat. We started in 34th on lap 170. pitted 6 times to work on the car. Now he's 7th, just 8 seconds behind the leader.
I don't know if he's going to be able to keep Riggs behind him.
I don't think he is. His car runs really well after they change tires for about 10-15 laps. And then these cars like Riggs and Truex become faster than his.
Side by side, Riggs trying to take the position, has it for now. Truex right behind Earnhardt. The 10 moves in front of the 8. Allen.
And Bill, this team took some criticism earlier this year when they were in position with a chance to win a race and had a bad last pit stop. Everybody said they choked under the pressure. Well, this team is thriving on the chance to get this car in position and have that last pressure pit stop again. They've made changes to the pit crew since earlier in the season. They feel like they're competitive with the best out there. They may get their chance under pressure here in these last 56 laps. Marty?
Alan Earnhardt Jr. has talked a lot this year about how he has matured as a driver and as a team leader. Today, Tony Eury Jr. led this team. After they wrecked, everybody was very calm. He calmly got the car fixed. Bill, as you said, 6 pit stops. And then Jr. came on the radio later and said the car's driving like it's wrecked. Stops after that to make the car even better. And here they are back in the top 10. Jr. says the car is a little slick on the right rear now, which him, that means his car is a little bit loose, but he's trying to keep it on that bottom line and trying to get around that 10 car, but he's awfully fast.
Earlier in this weekend, Tony Eury Jr., the crew chief for Dale Earnhardt Jr., said, listen, it's just gravy for us from here on in. We might be a year away from winning the championship. We've made our goal. We made the chase. We've been running well. If they come back, get a top 5, hang on in the points after today, I think his philosophy the next 2 weeks is going to change. They're going to have a new goal, and that's going to be to win the Nextel Cup championship in the final 2 races of this season. There's Tony Eury Jr. Those two reunited this year. A lot of people didn't think it was going to work because it didn't end under very happy circumstances a little over a year ago. But Earnhardt won at Richmond, made the chase. Right now, 3rd in the championship standings. And 8th on the track. Tony Stewart continues to lead by more than a second over Casey Kane.
Yeah, Stewart's pulled out about a second ahead of Casey Kane and has pretty much maintained that. So I'm not, like I said earlier, I'm not sure we've seen everything out of Tony Stewart. That was the first time he got pressured. Then he just kind of drove off there, got a second lead. And
the only car in front of Stewart today has been the pace car.
Right.
And he tried to take him out too, it looked like, or at least wanted him to think about it. On board with Earnhardt, still looking at Riggs. Jimmy Johnson runs in 3rd. He's 5.5 seconds behind Stewart and about a 1.5 seconds in front of Harvick. There's Matt Kenseth in the 17, hit with a pit road speeding penalty, had to restart at the tail end of the longest line.
Vickers, yep, 19 spots, so that's for position right there.
So Kenseth makes the pass. Update from Allen.
Yeah, Bill, just been a day-long struggle with the handling of this car. They have never challenged at all for a top 10 spot this entire day after feeling like they had a car that could finish in the top 8 or better when the race started. Matt Kenseth is continuing to pound away behind the wheel of that car, giving everything he can to get every spot he can. If they pull out a top 10 on this one, it'll really be the rally of the year.
What did you say they do better than anybody?
They take mud pie and turn it into apple pie. They've done it so many times.
Trying to do it again today with 50 to go. He's gained 10 spots since the restart. Former series champion. Came in here as the championship leader, but had a poor qualifying run. Had to start 36th. Got a good finish in Atlanta. This is 5th place. Greg Biffle in the 16, Kyle Busch in the 5. Kyle trying to make the pass of Biffle. Dave.
and his motor's going. He has radioed that to his crew. It's not gone yet, but according to the driver, it won't last much longer.
According to us as well, Dave. You can hear it when he goes by. We've been hearing about the last 3 or 4 laps. We weren't sure who it was, if it was Biffle or Kyle, but yeah, it sounds pretty bad.
It's Biffle.
Thanks to Dave. He narrowed it down for us.
Riggs is going to get the position. And the question is, where's he going to be when that thing goes?
Yeah, well, yeah, there's going to be a lot of people get that position.
Here comes Earnhardt.
And these are the things we talked about at Atlanta last week, about these 500-mile races, these 24-degree banks, very difficult on the engines.
And your cars run well all day. You haven't had any problems. You get down to 75, 60, 50 to go. And the engine tuners are just wandering around behind the pit stall, hoping nothing goes wrong. Earnhardt got the spot. Now Truex around Biffle. 46 laps to go.
Boy, it's really going now. Getting worse.
Tony Stewart leads by more than a second over Casey Kane. Let's do a top 5 through the field for you. Starting with Tony Stewart, and here is Matt Yoakum.
Bill definitely making a statement, leading 234 laps. Now they are about 12 laps short of fuel. The car that won on fuel mileage at Kansas, they're already talking about making a small air pressure change when they make that last stop, backing up that small air pressure change they made on their previous stop. Marty?
Casey Kane says the last change on his car, Matt, was a little too much. He needs that front end to work just a little bit better if he wants to catch that 20 car. In terms of fuel, they are 15 laps short on fuel. So when they stop, they're talking about a 2-tire change only. When they get the fuel in, get 2 new tires. Hopefully, that's enough to catch the 20 car. Alan?
Jimmy Johnson running in third. Lap 3:15 or so will be the magic number for Jimmy Johnson. They last pitted at lap number 2:58. He will get fuel to make it to the finish, will need fuel to make it to the finish. The question is, if the stop's under green or under caution, and what do you do for tire strategy? Matt?
29, Kevin Harvick, 5th here in the spring, currently runs 4th. The car just way too tight on the exit of the corner. They too around 8 to 9 laps short on fuel. Bouncing around whether to go a 4 or 2 tire change. Right now, they just need to get the tightness out of the race cars. We're closing into the finish, Dave.
Kyle Busch appreciates the fact that his team can do fuel mileage calculation, but he just did it himself. Hey, can we make it all the way? Oh, no, we can't. In fact, his crew chief backs that up about 6 laps short for the 5 car.
Thank you, gentlemen. Scott Riggs is 10th. Then it's Earnhardt Jr. in 7th. Truex, Clint Boyer, Greg Biffle.
Now, Bill, how far did you say Casey Kane was behind Tony Stewart?
He was 1.1.
And now he's 2/3 of a second. He is closing in on Tony Stewart about 1/10 of a second per lap.
But they got to make a pit stop.
Yep.
And that's, I think, where it's going to be won or lost right now if this thing stays green.
Been an amazing. Go ahead. Sorry, Wally.
It's just how you get on pit lane, how fast you get to that line on pit entrance. The guy's putting in the right amount of fuel and getting back up to speed. There's a lot more to a pit stop than just pulling into that pit box and getting serviced by your pit crew. It's about getting on a pit lane and off under green.
6 wins this season for Casey Kane, including 1 here at Texas. He swept the races at Charlotte. He's trying to do that today at the Texas Motor Speedway. He knows this is his kind of track.
I'd say any track you carry a lot of momentum, a lot of speed is where we're our best. I mean, it showed all season long, and we'll work on the other tracks too to get them better. I think that's driver and just figuring out what I'm looking for on those tracks. But I think our 1.5 to 2 mile tracks have been really good this year, and we've been good at other tracks too, just probably not quite as consistent as we are every time we come to Texas or every time we go to Charlotte.
1 in Atlanta, 1 here at Texas, both the Charlotte races, Michigan and California.
Team director for Casey Kane, Kenny Francis. Who everyone tells me Kenny Francis was one heck of a short track race car.
Yes, yes. Marty.
And Bill, this is the best part of the run for Casey Kane. Early in the run, they struggle with a tight race car. As the run goes along, the car gets a little looser. I have a question for Benny and Wally. They have to pit, just from hearing everybody else's report, about 10 laps earlier than everybody else. I think that's an advantage. They'll have the fresh tires on a little bit earlier than everybody else. Maybe they can make up some time on that 20 car.
The problem, Marty, is everyone going to change tires or just put in a half a can of fuel?
If you're going to do the 5 or 6 seconds and change the tires or whatever it takes to change 2 tires, and some guys come in and just do the splash and go, you're going to lose a lot of track time.
Because it's going to take 8 or 9 seconds to change two right side tires.
Right.
8 or 9 seconds.
And get back around to the other side of the car.
And you can put a splash of gas in the car in probably enough gas to finish in 3 seconds.
Right.
The tires probably over that time wouldn't have the benefit you'd be hoping for, would you think?
Well, as fast as these guys are going, it's almost a football field a second,
right?
You know, on this racetrack. So, you know, are you willing? Can you make up 300 yards on the racetrack with those 2 fresh tires?
Starting to work their way here through more lap traffic. Tony Stewart, the race leader. Casey Kane runs second, more on the 9 from Marty.
Well, I was going to follow in on that conversation. They're so much shorter on fuel than everybody else. They're about 15 to 16 laps shorter, that they have to take that much more fuel. It takes that much longer, so they have the time to take on 2 tires. But you're right, that may in the end wind up hurting them.
Yeah, if they're going to be in there that long, you're right, Marty, they may as well change. But I think there's going to be some people that can go longer, and they don't need that much fuel.
And somebody might even try and go without stopping, depending on if what might play out. You never know. Don't forget Football Night in America coming up next right here on NBC. Bob Costas and the guys getting you ready for the big Sunday night game, the Colts and the Patriots. Tony Stewart has been in control most of the day. We've run 300 laps now. He has led 244 of them. But 26-year-old Casey Kane in that 9-car runs second. 7 career wins for Casey, 6 this season, including 1 earlier this year right here at Texas. Kane has run 4 races at this track, has a first place and a second place finish among his accomplishments here in Texas. Led 63 laps in April.
Stewart's going to run into a little traffic here. See how he gets through it. See, now he's got 2 cars in front of him that are side by side. That's going to let Casey Kane close the gap considerably.
And Tony's saying, come on, guys, somebody pick a lane.
Look at here. Look how much Casey Kane gained just in that one corner, because Tony Stewart had no place to go.
And Wardbert in that 4 car is trying to stay on the lead lap. So whole race Stewart pretty hard. Tony down low, clears Ward. Kane off of 2.
Ooh. Listen to the wall there in the 49 car a little bit.
Casey Kane looking to the low groove, trying to move around Ward-Burton. Tony Stewart, 2-time series champion. Disappointing night at Richmond, Virginia, when he failed to qualify for the chase for the Nextel Cup.
See, the bad break that Casey Kane is catching is Ward-Burton is running his line.
Right.
And when he had to move down on the racetrack, it slowed him down.
You can see the lap traffic ahead. Stewart, the orange car right in front. Then more lap traffic. Going to see how the pit strategy plays out here in the closing laps of Texas. Alan.
Well, remember that story about guys and faster tires maybe helping out? Matt Kenseth is going to try something. Robbie Bridger here. This is going to be short pitting, seeing if the speed they gain on fresh tires is going to help them pick up some spots from where they were running in this last run of the race. Kenseth is gone.
Well, that's a new strategy that we hadn't even thought of.
Where that may help if the caution comes out after all these guys have pitted and changed 2 or none. It may make a huge difference. It's just all going to depend how and if the yellow falls.
Marty?
Well, Bill, I can promise you this. Casey Kane is trying to catch that 20 car. He came on the radio. He said, guys, I'm sorry. I have killed my front tires trying to catch him. Kenny Francis came back and said, listen, ride right where you are. We're about 10 laps from our stop, about lap 314, now 9 laps until the 9 car hits pit road.
Thanks, Marty. Interesting move by Robbie Reiser, crew chief for Matt Kenseth. Kenseth currently second in the championship standings.
Now, I don't believe that Kane has any choice but change right sides. Because if he's burning the right front tire off the car, trying to catch Tony Stewart, then he needs to get that tire off and a better one on there.
And he's obviously now communicated that to his crew.
Well, no, he did. He said that he burned the right front off, trying to catch him. So, yeah, so exactly. Now they're like, well,
we got to do it.
Yeah, got nothing to lose. May as well change too. Go for it.
And Benny, if you're a driver like Tony Stewart right now, you have complete confidence in your over-the-wall gang because they deliver for you week in and week out, and they have been virtually flawless today.
Oh, well, the last 2 weeks.
Right. Martin Truex Jr. in the 1, Dale Earnhardt Jr. driving that red 8. That's for the 7th spot, and Clint Boyer's right behind him. Truex the 7th, Earnhardt 8th. Boyer 9th. Strong run for Dale Earnhardt Jr. after hitting the wall on lap 170. Terry Labonte slow on the apron of the racetrack. More on Kenseth, Alan?
Yeah, Bill, just want to clarify what they're thinking by short hitting. Matt Kenseth right now is running nearly 1 second faster than the race leader on the racetrack by having those fresh tires. So by stopping now and running that second a lap faster, as long as the caution doesn't come out, he's going to gain a lot of ground on these guys he was racing with and might even be able to pull off a top 15 finish here. The only risk to the strategy is if the caution comes out, he's going to have given up maybe 8-9 positions on the racetrack by getting trapped a lap down to other guys he was racing with before. So they're gambling on the caution not coming out and using the speed to try and steal some points away that might win him a championship in a couple of weeks.
What a big gamble and a big if. We've had 10 caution flags so far today, 25 laps to go.
But again, they had nothing to lose. Where they were running, they had nothing to lose. I mean, they weren't going to get, I mean, they were right around 16th, 17th. They weren't really getting anywhere from that point.
But if the caution comes out now, he's going to be back about 25th.
And you're right, Wally, he was 18th when they decided that was the move they were going to make. There's race leader Tony Stewart. Won a week ago tonight in Atlanta, had a very strong car.
Is that Jimmy Johnson in front of Casey Kane?
That's just what I was looking at. Yes.
Just made the move.
Johnson has moved into that second spot, and he is a half second a lap faster than Tony Stewart.
Alan.
Well, you know, one of the things that the crew chiefs do down here on pit road, well, you guys know BP, Wally, and Bill, but for people who aren't familiar, they watch a computer that shows every lap that their car and every other car on the field runs. For the last 25 laps, Jimmy Johnson has been faster than the 2 cars in front of him. He came from 2.5 seconds behind to catch Casey Kane, and now he's only 0.7 of a second behind Tony Stewart, and he's running a little bit faster by 1/10 or 2/10 of a second per lap than the race leader.
So Tony has a new picture in his mirror.
See, now Casey Kane, the 17 car took a chance. He short pitted. That's exactly what Casey Kane needs to do right now.
Because?
Because his tires have given up. Tony Stewart has pulled away from him. Johnson has passed him for the second position.
Yeah, and all he's going to do is keep losing ground. So you're right, BP. They should hit the pit.
Jimmy Johnson trying to close in on Tony Stewart.
Looks like Stewart has caught that 38 car. He's been kind of hung behind him there for a couple laps. Now he gets down underneath him. Boy, Johnson is there.
2 years ago, in the first ever chase for the Nextel Cup Championship, Jimmy Johnson finished second by 8 points. Right now, he runs second on the track behind Tony Stewart, but leads the championship standings by 63 points with 2 races to go. Johnson and his crew chief Chad Knaus have worked extremely hard trying to capture that Nextel Cup Championship.
Ooh, Stewart bobbled a little bit right over that bump. Car got a little bit loose.
And there you see Kenseth with the new tires right behind those 2.
Putting on 4. Forward.
Marty,
And Bill, that was Tony Eury Jr. You heard. He said 4 tires. So Dale Earnhardt Jr. will gamble a little bit here and take on 4 fresh tires. Kind of late to be doing that. The fuel to get to the end. The tire carrier slips as he comes around the back side of the car. They're going to get the 4 tires on and get Jr. back out on the track. They're going to also make an air pressure adjustment on that 8 car. He said the car was extremely loose for Casey Kane. They asked him, when do you want to come? He said as soon as possible. They're going to stick with the plan, though, of 2 tires on Casey Kane's car. They're going to make a track bar adjustment as well. Go down 1 round on that track bar. He was a little too loose by himself, and he killed the car when he went. He stalled it, and then he got it going, but they lost some time on pit road, Bill.
You have to be mistake-free on these pit stops. The time you lose, you will not make up on the racetrack. Scott Riggs on pit road. Allen.
That is from 4th place. Scott Riggs pits, Bill, where he was running before this stop. 2 tires, top off the fuel. Gone. We're expecting Jimmy Johnson any second.
Riggs not a contender for the championship, trying to get his first NASCAR Nextel Cup Series win.
Bring around and pit. Pit this time. Pit this time.
Chad Knaus telling his driver, pit this time.
It's driver Jimmy Johnson in that 48 car. And look at the ground he's lost to Stewart.
I'm telling you guys, I think Stewart looks up in the mirror when he decides he wants to go. He just goes.
Just presses the right one on the right, huh?
Yep.
The accelerator.
Clint Boyer, Marty.
He spent this entire run rallying back from restarting 11th. They had a lug nut hang up on the right rear, as BP told you earlier. They're also going to take 4 tires here, hoping that these tires will help them gain some of this track position back and the fuel to make it all the way to the end. Matt?
Tony Stewart said, I just want a small air pressure change in the right front. The car has gone extreme to the tight side. They were talking about if they went 4, they would do a left rear change, but only a 2-tire change for Stewart. So he doesn't lose a whole lot of time here on pit road.
Now we're going to see how it all plays out. Tony Stewart.
Now Johnson is on pit road. Allen.
Let's see how many tires they're going to take here. I believe this is going to be a 4-tire change on the 48 car. They have the left side tires out. Here they come around the near side of the car. Chad Knaus rolling the dice that the extra 2 fresh tires will be worth enough speed to perhaps overtake Tony Stewart. Matt?
And Kevin Harvick, who won Saturday's Busch race, already service is complete. Small fuel and right side change. Meanwhile, the 24 of Jeff Gordon, he comes in. He could have hit anywhere from lap 314 on. He now pulls in as the 42 of Mears. Also, it's his stop. Everyone going right side tires.
Jeff Gordon careful not to exceed the speed limit exiting pit road. Kyle Busch headed for Dave Burns.
And he said, my spot in turn 2 is still bad. That's a spot where his car gets a little bit tight, wants to push, and but he encouraged the team not to make changes to the car. He'll get a cleaner windshield, they pull a tear-off away, and just 2 right-side tires, and fuel for Kyle, and the tire changer scoots to safety. 99 car of Carl Edwards in as well. They will come in, they give up, when they started making stops, they were running 12, and Carl will receive right-side tires as well. They've got the left sides up on top of the wall. Had talked about giving him that handling advantage, but they're going to stay with 2 only on Edwards.
So Carl Edwards, his last win came at this track, has gone winless this season. His last victory 1 year ago tonight. Bobby Labonte on pit road. Allen.
The right side tire change for Bobby Labonte. They've been just on the fringes of the top 10 for much of the afternoon. He pits from the lead here.
Cycling through green flag pit stops here at the Texas Motor Speedway, inside of 15 laps to go. Rookie J.J. Yaley currently scored the race leader, but there's Tony Stewart right behind him in that orange car.
And when this thing cycles out, Stewart will have 10 seconds on Jimmy Johnson. That's the difference between 2 tires and 4 tires with 12 to go. So that means the 48 car's got to be over a second a lap faster in order to catch the 20 to win this race.
Now has less than 12 laps to do it. Don't forget, coming up next, Football Night at America. Right here on NBC. And we've got the Colts and the Patriots later tonight. Those are teammates out of the racing stable of Coach Joe Gibbs. Rookie J.J. Yaley in the 18. Veteran Tony Stewart in the 20. This passes for the lead, but Yaley has not pitted yet. This puts Stewart back up front.
Now, it's important that Stewart doesn't get hung up in a lot of traffic, or that will let the guys that are chasing him catch him that have 4 tires.
Matt Kenseth was 18th when he pitted for the 4 tires. Right now he runs 18th.
And I tell you what, Tony Stewart has over Casey Kane about a 4-second lead, almost 4.5 seconds. Tony Stewart must have done an incredible job getting on and off pit road.
And Jimmy Johnson has to be more careful of that, Benny, because he truly can't afford the speeding penalty because he's in the chase and Stewart is not.
And Stewart can bump up to 100 RPMs off the maximum pit road speed.
Matt Yoakum.
Bill, in the car rotation, the 20 team had planned on bringing a different race car here to Texas, but after winning at Atlanta in Victory Lane, they made the decision. We're going to bring this particular race car and see if they can make it back-to-back wins. And if you recall, they really haven't changed much in this race car. They basically power washed it, and they even left the sticker that they put on the dash last week for Stewart as motivation. Simply said, hardware space available. Well, guess what? They took home that huge Bass Pro Shops trophy, had to put it in 2 pieces. They've got another trophy here at Texas. They've got some space available in the team hauler to go back to Huntersville.
Got somebody in a wall.
Caution has come out. Greg Biffle has hit the wall.
Man, this is going to change things now.
That 4 seconds you were talking about?
Gone. How about the 10 seconds? Gone. Now Stewart's got guys in his mirror that have 4 tires.
And if you're at the back of the field with 17 cars on the lead lap, does somebody come back there, come get tires to try and help their position a little bit?
It depends. I don't think Matt Kenseth has run enough laps. If 5 or 6 or 7 guys come in front of him, I think he needs to stay out.
Right. See how it plays out. Be a single file restart. Greg Biffle in the 16.
Looks like simply that the air left the right front tire rapidly.
Talked about it earlier. He felt that his motor was beginning to go south. Dave, you know a little bit more?
Yeah, Greg feels like he ran over something, and that's what put the 16 into the wall. And he had been running on 7 cylinders. The motor hadn't given up. Car handling well, but not under power, and then that ended his day.
Greg Biffle finished 2nd in the chase for the Nextel Cup last year. Had 6 wins, but it's been a disappointing season for him here in 2006. Just 1 victory and outside the cut line for the chase.
Matt Yoakum, I got a question for you.
Go ahead, BP.
The 29 car, did he change 2 or 4?
2 tires.
Okay, because he's been awfully fast here the last few laps.
Absolutely, and the 20 team is concerned about the 48 who took 4 tires. Remember back to last week, it really was a decision of Junior staying out on his older tires. The 20, they didn't really even debate their decision to come to pit road and get 4, and that was a huge difference last week. Now they're concerned maybe their roles are going to be reversed a little bit here because they took 2 tires.
So Junior has 4, Jimmy Johnson has 4. I guess those are the only 2 cars that have changed 4 tires.
Right, Matt Kenseth changed 4, but he's way back in 16th right now.
Well, I would say that Kenseth will probably come in now. Marty?
BP, listening on the radio, Casey Kane just came on and said, we blew up. And then Kenny Francis came back and said, we blew up. He said, yeah, I just lost the engine. We blew up. He's coming to pit road. Unbelievable. They were going to finish in the top 5. This is the way the chase has gone for the 9 team. Casey Kane coming down pit road with what he thinks is an engine that has expired.
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
26-year-old from Washington won here in April. Pit stops, Matt.
And Bill, the 24 of Gordon is in as well. Right side tires already gone on. They really have nothing to really debate here, going for the 4-tire change. Give it a shot, see what can happen.
And Casey Kane is done.
The hood is up on pit road. The word from down there, finished. Marty?
They looked inside the engine to see if it was a spark plug, and indeed it was something internal. These guys are done. This is an unbelievable turn of events, Bill.
38th at Atlanta, 7th at Martinsville, had the win at Charlotte. Strong run at Talladega. Last week took himself out when he made a bad move on the track, ran into David Stremme. But tonight, Benny, exactly what you talked about before the race began, the engine builder's nightmare.
Oh, it is. Just a few laps to go. If they only had not practiced another 8 or 9 laps,
So Casey Kane, one of the bright young stars of the sport, pushed back to the garage, so close to victory. And the sour taste of defeat for Kane after 6 wins this season. And you know what else that does? That moves Jimmy Johnson and those 4 fresh tires 1 spot closer.
Yeah.
To Tony Stewart. They get the 1 to go signal, Alan.
The caution was both a break and a problem for Jimmy Johnson. It was a break because it allowed him to close the gap on Tony Stewart that he was behind under the green flag because of taking the extra time on pit road. The problem is they ran off a few laps here under the yellow flag, reducing the number of laps he has to try and do something with this 20 car and the 2 between himself and the race leader. Matt?
A little difference in reversal of tires from last week, Zip. You just laid out the game plan for your man. Can your wheel man hold them off?
I think so. I mean, we've had a good car. I'm glad we've got a couple of cars in between us. God, I can't even talk right now. 4 to go here in Texas. This place used to be a real thorn in our side. Last couple of years, we've got a good handle on it, and this would mean an awful lot for us to win here.
And Greg Zipadelli laid out the situation for Tony, told him who had the 4 tires, who didn't. He says, but you can hold them off. And Stewart's reply simply was, that's easy for you to say.
Tony Stewart has 6 top 10s in his 9 races here at Texas. Outside the chase for the Nextel Cup, but has already won 2 of the 7 chase races, trying to make it number 3 tonight. Scott Riggs is right behind him, driving for Ray Evernham, looking for his first win. Then you've got a couple of chasers in Kevin Harvick and Jimmy Johnson.
Well, and this, it seems like we're getting down to this time of the race all the time on these last minute or late restarts. This is where Tony Stewart needs to just have as good a restart as he's been having all night. He's got to get a good start to get away from that 48 car and hope that Jimmy Johnson gets hung up behind Harvick and Riggs.
Inside of 10 to go, it's a single file restart. No lap cars in the way. 4 to go as they take the green. Stewart leads at Texas.
Wow, and Harvick left the door open on the right side, so Jimmy Johnson's going to get one of those spots in a hurry.
Johnson in the 48 around Harvick in the 29, chasing race leader Tony Stewart.
That's not what Stewart wanted to see. Trust me, he's looking in the mirror for that 48 car. He wants to know where he's at.
Riggs runs second, but here comes Johnson on those 4 fresh tires.
Yeah, if he gets by Riggs here this lap without too much trouble, Tony's going to be a sitting duck.
But he's having a little trouble. Yep. He might get position down the back straightaway.
Bobble a little bit there with Riggs.
And that holds up Johnson. Couldn't find the avenue to get by. Kevin Harvick's going to go low. Riggs can't block them both. Johnson gets the position.
Oh, he's getting them loose. He's getting them loose. And
Riggs is run hard into the wall. Caution is out.
Oh, Kenseth goes around.
Kenseth, another championship chaser. Jeff Gordon is through the grass. Scott Riggs running second. Now a hard hit sits in the middle of the tri-oval here at Texas.
But the race isn't over. Under NASCAR rules, we will have a green, white checker to have 2 more laps.
And that's not good news for Tony Stewart, but it's good news for Jimmy Johnson.
There's Riggs.
And it looked like on that deal, Harvick got right up on the 10 car. It just took that air off that spoiler.
Go back and take a look at what happened under caution here at Texas.
The 10 bobbled just a little bit. The 29 was coming. I don't think the 29 ever hit him, but he got close enough to him where he took the air off the spoiler, and that's all it took. Oh, Truex just gets tapped, but hangs on to it.
And Junior just misses it. There you see Kenseth around, gets tapped again. Gordon through the grass. Number of cars using pit road as an avenue to avoid the trouble on the front stretch. There's Harvick right behind Riggs.
That was an extremely hard blow. There's a rear spring bouncing across the racetrack.
It'll take a while to clean this up.
Kenseth is just probably going, not again.
Boy.
He's hard to have to start in the back.
Back to mud pie right now.
Yeah.
Kenseth had worked his way up to the 9th position.
Yeah. Oh, he's been there and back and there and back. I mean, it's just been a long day for those guys.
Listen. You can see the safer barrier there. The softer wall, as they call it in NASCAR. An energy-absorbing barrier. Still a hard hit for Riggs. Boy, Carl Edwards went around. On board, Dale Earnhardt Jr.
As soon as you see the smoke, you know. Trouble. Oh, there wasn't even smoke on that one.
Ooh. Wow.
You're clear, buddy.
Tell you
Good
what,
job.
coming back on the
plate.
racetrack, he bottomed out big time.
Denny Hamlin's on board.
Wow, good job, Denny.
Did he get a piece of it or not?
I don't think he did. He's going to have to come in and change those tires because he flat spotted them. But
you know, Earnhardt was in one wreck, but he has missed at least 3 tonight. Moments ago, before this, the night ended for Casey Kane. Marty Snyder is with him.
And that, too, was a bit of a surprise. Any indication at all that you were having an engine problem?
No, I mean, just happened, you know, just a bad deal, but we were fast. Kenny did a good job, guys did a good job, and there was only, I think, really one battle all night for the lead, and that was me and Tony. I had a blast. He was, I thought we were flying, and he was still better than I was, so it was a good time. We had a great race, and the good thing is we have 2 races left. We can still have a shot at winning, and we can look forward to next year. We're going to have a lot of good race cars next year, too.
You had finally gotten into position. Did you think you could maybe pass him?
Right not. I mean, he was too good. I think if we could have had a caution with 20 to go and got 4 tires and worked on it a little bit, I think we had a shot, you know, at least battle him again, see what we had. But he was too good on 2 tires. I don't think we could have even hung with him.
Bill, a lot of late drama. Enough for you?
Yeah, loving it. Loving it. And you know what it's doing, Marty? It's tightening up the chase for the Nextel Cup. 2 races to go after tonight. Phoenix, Arizona next Sunday, then the season finale in Homestead, Florida in 2 weeks. And here are the points as they run right now. Matt Kenseth has closed to within 6 of Jimmy Johnson. Kenseth came in as the championship leader, but started 36th and gave up the lead basically when the green flag came out. Football night in America coming up next here on NBC, setting the stage for Sunday Night Football, the Indianapolis Colts and the New England Patriots. Peyton Manning against Tom Brady. If the race reaches its scheduled conclusion, under the caution, NASCAR will make one attempt at a 2-lap green flag, white flag, checkered flag finish. So after they clean the track, they will line these cars up, put out the green flag, and race for 2 laps. If the caution comes out after the green, the race will be over. There are 8 scoring loops around the track. NASCAR will use the scoring loops and videotape replays to determine the final finishing order. Update on Dale Earnhardt Jr. from Marty Snyder.
Well, Bill, as we watched him go through that wreck in the in-car camera, he got a little bit of left front damage from hitting his teammate Martin Truex Jr. right behind the wheel. They see right there where that's flared out. They were worried the left front might be flat. They've looked at it several times. You see Jr. weaving it back and forth to make sure that the left front is not flat. They've determined it's not flat enough to bring him on the pit road. They would lose a lot of track position that way. So they're going to leave him out, hoping that the left front will stay up. Alan?
Matt Kenseth will likely be coming down pit road here to take 4 tires. He was showing an 8th position on the racetrack, but NASCAR is readjusting some of those running positions based on where they were scored at the time the caution came out. Robbie Reiser just made the call for Matt to stay out on the racetrack. Given the number of cars that are on the lead lap, 15, that's the debate. How far back do we fall? How much of it can we get back with fresher tires? They've decided to stay out instead of pit and run out these last 2 laps. So they could steal a top 10 out of this thing, yeah, despite where they've been running all day. We'll see.
Now, one thing about going back to Junior's car, I think that's going to affect the handle of that car quite a bit, because that's a big aero deal right there.
And I don't believe it came from Truex's car. I think that came when he hit the racetrack, but he came back.
Bottomed out.
He bottomed out.
Right.
That's where that came from. Because we heard on his onboard camera some heavy contact with the racetrack.
Denny Hamlin, another driver in the chase for the Nextel Cup Championship, has been on and off of pit road. Hamlin currently 4th in the running order.
Well, I'm telling you, he had to change tires because he locked him up on that wreck.
Hamlin's 4th in the championship, 14th in the running order. Lights are out on the pace car. That means the pace car will head for pit road. We'll put the green flag in the air. One attempt at 2 laps to decide today's race here at the Texas Motor Speedway.
This is going to be a good shootout right here.
2 of the last 4 races here have been decided by less than half a second. 12th race here at the Texas Motor Speedway for the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series. In the first 11 different winners.
You got to remember too on this deal that really Stewart doesn't have anything to lose. He's not points racing here. Jimmie Johnson has to be a little bit more careful than Tony Stewart has to be.
Jimmie Johnson took 4 tires under his most recent pit stop. Tony Stewart took 2. Green flags in the air. 2 laps to decide it at Texas. Johnson hangs with Stewart on the start, looks at the high side, then ducks in behind him. Flash bulbs everywhere. Stewart low, Johnson high. Harvick in 3rd. And Kyle Busch and Clint Bowyer, Earnhardt Jr. 6th. Tony Stewart has been strong all day, has led 277 of the 338 laps. White flag, last lap.
Pretty even that lap. I think he's going to be able to get him.
Doesn't look that way.
Down the backstretch for the final time. Tony Stewart won last week at Atlanta with a dominating run, strong pit stops, a good crew. Outside the chase for the Nextel Cup Championship, cannot defend his title, but he can be strong down the stretch. Tony Stewart wins at Texas. What a run for Tony Stewart.
Jason Shapiro, the car chief on that 20. That's Jerry Cook.
The field was set for the Nextel Cup chase for the championship after the race in Richmond, Virginia in September. When Tony Stewart was locked out following that race, he said, "We have one goal, to win them all." He has won 3 of the first 8, 2 to go. Phoenix and Homestead. Led 278 of the 339 laps. Unofficially, it's Johnson, Harvick, Kyle Busch, and Clint Bowyer.
Wonder what car he'll bring to Homestead, BP.
I would guess the same car.
Those fans are going to the fence because Tony Stewart's trademark is to climb the fence after a win. Unofficially, here are the championship standings with 2 races to go in the chase for the Nextel Cup. Jimmie Johnson just 17 points in front of the 17 team of Matt Kenseth. Earnhardt Jr., Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick, the top 5. The maximum point game possible in one race, 156. So next week at Phoenix, any one of those top 5 drivers could leave as the championship leader.
I told him he better get him a mattress.
He better get what?
A mattress to put on the racetrack. Underneath, one of these days he's going to slip.
Stewart taking off his safety equipment, parks his car at the start-finish line, then he will climb the fence. Unofficial results for tonight's race. Tony Stewart, Jimmie Johnson, Kevin Harvick, good comeback from Kyle Busch, strong run by Clint Bowyer, Earnhardt Jr. with an amazing run. Tony Stewart climbs the fence to the flag stand and will celebrate with the fans. For those of you who want to continue watching NASCAR racing from Texas, please tune to CNBC for our post-race report. And coming up next on NBC, it's Football Night in America with Bob, Chris, Sterling, and the bus for all of today's NFL action leading up to Sunday Night Football. Our race coverage continues on CNBC. Football Night in America is next. 2 weeks, a victory last week in Atlanta, and a dominating run here at Texas. Matt Yoakum.
A dominating day, a Texas record leading 278 laps. But boy, those last two were a nail biter.
Oh, God, it makes it all worth it. This is incredible. This place used to, like I said, used to be a real thorn in our side. And we could run in the top 20. We used to, for some reason, we used to struggle. But he's done a great job. This team has done an amazing job. What a performance by everybody, I'd say, today. The driver, what can you say? He's amazing. That car has been awful special. It's the last 3 times we've run it, it's 3 wins. So everybody at JGR done an amazing job. Home Depot Chevrolet was great today. I mean, we hardly adjusted on it. We actually tightened it up as the sun went down just a little bit there, and everything worked out. 2 tires was the way to go, I think, where it was. We had the track position, we had everything we needed, but when the yellow came out, I was like, I was sick to my stomach. But you know, the good Lord was with us for sure today. You don't have a performance like this without that.
I know you've got a car rotation, but thinking about maybe taking this one to Phoenix?
I'm thinking about putting brake ducts in it, but our Phoenix car already left, so it will be at Homestead.
Congratulations,
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Marty?
Well, Bill, tonight was a matter of survival for Dale Earnhardt Jr. First of all, how do you feel?
Not too bad.
I know at one point it wasn't very good.
Yeah, I drank so many fluids, man, and I just was, I just had heartburn and all kinds of bad stuff going on in there, but and first part of the race, it wasn't really good at all, but the guys worked on the car, and I got to feeling better halfway through the race, and the last half of the race we were fine. Just sorry, couldn't do any better than we did. We really couldn't get a hold of the car, and it was loose off real bad, and the 07 got right up on me there, and I did the same thing to the 16 here a year ago, and I couldn't believe how quick it spun me around there, and we got in the fence. Guys worked on it and fixed it, and I want to thank them. Great race car, and hopefully we can have it repaired for Homestead.
Were you surprised at how good the car was actually after you were back in 34th and you made 6 stops to repair it?
Yeah, but we've seen these guys fix some wrecked race cars before, and they got a great habit of in that situation, still having that hope, you know, having that little glimmer of hope that thing might handle all right. And a lot of teams will just ride it out from like a flip a switch, you know, and these guys stick it out, and they, you know, you can hear in their voice that they anticipate the car to drive the same, and so I try to go out there and make it happen. It's a good race, though. I'm real proud of my team. I think it was a good effort by us, everything we went through.
Glad to see you're feeling okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Dale Earnhardt Jr., 78 points out of the championship lead. Dave?
And that championship leader is Jimmy Johnson, getting congratulations from his friends and crew members. And the best car looks like it won the race, but yours was pretty close to best.
Yeah, I agree. I think 20 was the best all night long. We started making some gains at the end and could run lap times with them, kind of like Atlanta. I just didn't have anything for them. But I'm just so proud of this race team. We raced hard all night long. Had some different things to overcome. I had the window net pop down on me under green flag conditions, and I had to get it back up on my own, which was pretty hair-raising trying to get it back up. Just a wild night, but all in all, a very good night for this Los Monte Carlo, and something we're very proud of.
And the decision to take 4 late in the race, how did you feel about that at the time? And it turned out okay.
When I came on the track and I was in 10th or something way back, I thought, man, this wasn't a good idea. And then I was catching people and passing them, and those 2 restarts at the end, my 4 tires gave me a little bit of an advantage, and I was at least able to get back for the pit stop. So no harm, no foul. Long story short, but no harm, no foul.
And you go into Phoenix with the lead, Jimmy.
Yeah, it's great. We just keep working. You know, if we just keep running hard and performing and scoring points, you know, we'll just see what happens from there. We've had so much fun racing for this since we were down and out early, and we don't want to lose that. We just want to keep racing for this and have some fun.
They have gone toward the top. They're there now, Bill. We'll see how that carries over for the final 2.
Thank you, Dave. There have been 12 NASCAR Nextel Cup races at Texas. The 12th, the different winner is Tony Stewart. He's in victory lane with Allen.
And he's about to get out in victory lane and celebrate with his team. He's already celebrated with the fans. Handshakes and congratulations all around. Tony, that race, you led so much of it. Were there any difficulties from where you sat in keeping that car out in front?
Leading's not always the best place to be, believe it or not. I mean, you kind of get complacent while you know the guys behind you are trying to make their cars faster, and you don't know how much better you can get. I mean, I thought we had the perfect car all day, and We really did. I mean, there were times that guys could run with us on the front of a run, and Casey was the closest guy to getting by us, and even he fell off as the run went on. But you know, the pit crew had awesome pit stops today, and everybody on this Home Depot crew did an awesome job with this Monte Carlo SS. It was just unbelievable today. I mean, in your career, I mean, I've been racing 27 years, and I can count on 2 hands the cars that I had like today. I mean, you just don't get them that often. So days like today are when you appreciate it.
The late cautions and the late restarts with different guys behind you. Maybe then you'd been racing all day a couple of times. Thoughts there?
I didn't want to see those last 2 cautions. I mean, we had a big enough lead there with 6 to go that, you know, we were in really good shape. But, you know, the first caution comes and we stay out, and we know that Jimmy's got 4 tires, only, you know, 2 cars in between us. And that wasn't too big a deal. Even when he got the second there, I knew that we had a big enough lead that we could make it to the end, no problem, and run our pace. But a little more nerve-wracking when you got 2 to go and you got a guy with 4 tires that are behind you that are, you know, his car got good at the end of the night, obviously. So it was a little more nerve-wracking when you got 4 tires behind you.
As well as you've run in the chase, does it make you stop and do it all? Any what-ifs?
No. I mean, I wish we could have got on this string a little earlier, but you know, I think I've been inspired by my new sponsor in Hiram, Georgia, with Ray Rockmore's Taxidermy. I mean, he's been telling me I need to win races so I can get up in victory lane and promote his taxidermy company. So I'm excited. I mean, you know, we just missed. That's all there is to it. I mean, you know, there's not any of that stuff that, you know, well, you know, what if and what if. I mean, it's a lot easier on a day like today when I'm not worried about points. All I cared about was winning that race. I wasn't worried about where any of those other guys in the points were, and that makes it a lot easier. I mean, it's 2 totally separate races now each week. I mean, those top 10 guys got 10 times more pressure than I got just trying to go out and win a race now.
Very dominant today. Congratulations to you and your team.
That's due to Zippy. I mean, Zippy was the one that made the changes to the car last night, this morning, and this one's for Terry Labonte. He's had an awesome career, and you know, hate to see him go, but hopefully he'll come by the track every now and then. So this one's for Terry.
There you go, Tony. Congratulations, Tony Stewart, winner today at Texas. Matt.
Kevin Harvick will win Saturday, a 3rd place finish on Sunday, closes to 105 markers out. Describe your day, because it was big, back and forth, just trying to tweak that race car.
Yeah, it was a really good day for our Jim Goodwin Chevrolet. You know, we worked on our car all day to make it better, and you know, sometimes it was worse, sometimes it was better, but the guys did a good job on pit road, getting track position and making everything happen when it counted.
And talking about just the close racing as you're going, a lot of guys 4 tires, 2 tires, right near the end, just a lot of tight racing here.
Yeah, a lot of tight racing. You know, 10 got loose in front of me and I got in the back of him. Just the extracurricular activity afterwards is the part that we got to put it into. So just don't appreciate his guys doing what they did. So
what happened?
They just acting like a bunch of morons, like they race.
Kevin Harvick, 3rd here at Texas.
Well, we'll follow up on that and see exactly what Kevin is referring to. You could tell Riggs was upset, but didn't see anything occur immediately afterwards.
My guess is they took some of that sheet metal off the 10 car and put on his trailer.
Well, here are the championship standings. Just 2 races to go. I can tell you no driver is mathematically eliminated. But what do you think? Harvick's the last guy with a realistic shot?
I think that's pretty fair to say. Yeah, that's a fair shot. I don't even know if there'd be a fair shot, BP.
I think Denny Hamlin is probably the guy that has a... Because Harvick's got to go by Denny Hamlin, Jr., Kenseth, and Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah. Jr. just 2 points in front of Denny Hamlin.
Finished his top 5 tonight. Had a pretty strong race car, Clint.
Yeah, we did. Jack Daniels Chevrolet was it was good all night long, all day long, too. But we just got behind a little bit. Gil asked me what I needed to run with the 20 car, and I told him I was way too loose to run with him. So we tried to tighten it up, and we lost 7 or 8 spots on pit road and got really tight in traffic. But you know, we came back, and you know, green flag pit stop. He made a good call about putting 4 tires on and getting us the right stuff we needed to you know, be at the end. When the caution came out, we had 4 and they had 2. So things worked out.
And you had a little contact with Junior, and that didn't mess you up too bad.
Yeah, you know, I hated that. I don't know if I got him loose. I tried to pass him on the outside, and I saw him get loose. I tried to check up, and it was just too late. You know, I hate it for those guys. I know they're racing for a championship. It's just a difficult situation.
Clint Boyer, a good run tonight at Texas. Bill?
Thank you, Dave. 5th place finish for Clint, behind Stuart Johnson, Harvick, Kyle Busch.
Racking up some pretty cool trophies.
I'm telling you, that is a cool trophy.
Not as big as the one last week.
No, that's going to be tough to beat that one last week. That Bear Bass Pro Trophy was furniture.
If that's missing from his trophy case or wherever, we might know where to
He'll
look
know
for.
where the first guy to check.
Vidallenbach.
I think I'll take the cowboy hat for the trophy.
A reminder, next weekend on NBC will be in Arizona, Saturday at 3:30 Eastern. It's NASCAR Busch Series racing from Phoenix, presented by Pennzoil Platinum. And next Sunday, with only 2 races left in the chase for the Nextel Cup, don't miss NASCAR Nextel Cup racing from Phoenix, presented by the Principal Financial Group. Coverage begins at 2:30 Eastern Time with the Bank of America Countdown to Green. Coming up, we'll join the Wall Street Journal report with it already in progress. Tony Stewart wins. He goes back-to-back, just 2 races to go. Jimmy Johnson, the championship leader. What will happen when we get to Phoenix? Who will still have a shot when we get to Homestead? Congratulations to Tony Stewart on the victory, and to Terry Labonte, a 2-time champion. We say thanks for the memories. See you next weekend in the desert.